Happy Sunday, gamers! Happy Sunday! Welcome to the live stream. We've got some chill vibes with Minecraft today. Thank you to the PetPyves Discord for that suggestion. The vibes are good. The vibes are wholesome. We need it. I've definitely, it's been an emotional week. And we need it. We deserve it. It's our little treat. Welcome to the live stream, guys. We're gonna talk about year 8 of Persona Project, the final year of Wild Child's era. Welcome in, guys. Howdy, members. Welcome, welcome. You guys are in the live chat today. I've had my fair share of 1,000 comments in one day on my most recent shorts, so I'm a little socially burned out, so we're gonna keep it members only in the live chat today. Yeah, so hi chat, welcome. It's been a long, oh god, how long's it been? More than 6 months now. I'd say like almost 8 months, maybe a little less, maybe a little more, since we started Persona Project. It's crazy. And here we are at the very end of Wild Child's era. Man, I have like so much I want to say, honestly. Like, I could go on for hours. Like, I really could. But I don't know, I guess the main thing that nobody's really talking about, which I am a little proud about, is the fact that not much gets finished in this animation community of ours. People always put things out, but they never see the light of day. Like, what most we'll get is a trailer, maybe a casting call, maybe an episode 1, but not many people— Oh, Corwin! I saw that, Corwin! Thank you so much for becoming a member, that's so sweet, dude! Holy cow! Aw, thanks, man, that's so real, dude. But yeah, I got so excited, my train of thought crashed in my mind. But in the slew of things that don't get finished, I am just proud that something that I created saw it from start to finish, and I finished something. I mean, I always finish what I say I'm gonna finish, but I just think that it's a pretty big testament in our community that something got finished, and it's going to continue, and it's still going strong, and it will see the full end. Music's a little loud. Dang it, I turned it up because Minecraft music's so gentle. Oh goodness, okay guys, I'll switch over to my screen in a little bit so we can share all the love. Thank you guys. Thank you SDN for becoming a peevlet, and Pinky for becoming a peevlet. Oh my god, welcome to the club, guys. 3 new peevlets. Let's go. Welcome to the club. Welcome to the club. Heck yeah. But I'll go over everybody's donations and everything in just a moment. I just have to say, I'm very proud of myself as an animator for sitting down for 8 to 12 hours every single day and working on my trauma to complete this project. Like, to get Wild Child's era done, the work that went into it, the literal tears and mourning and just hard work that went into it. It kind of blends into the background because you are so immersed in what I'm telling you, in the story that I'm telling you, my story, that you kind of forget that, oh shit, somebody like animates this, you know? Like, somebody spends like every day, literally every day, animating this, and sometimes the animation quality and the consistency and the voice acting and like all of the other aspects, the writing, all those things kind of slip under the radar because you're too busy being immersed, which means I'm doing my job as a storyteller. That means it's perfect. That means I'm doing exactly what I should be doing, which is keeping you guys focused on that. But then sometimes it does make me a little sad because I'm like, dang, I put a lot of work into that. Nobody seems to be commenting about that kind of stuff, but I'm very proud of myself, and I'm really, really grateful for everybody for giving me this opportunity to finish it and to continue it. Like, being a full-time YouTuber is freaking rad, and it's a dream come true, and I'm gonna make sure that Blackbird's era continues just as strong, if not even better. But before all of that, let's talk about year 8 of Persona Project and catch up on all of our lovely donations. Thank you guys so much for the overwhelming support already. Oh my goodness, this is awesome. I really appreciate it so much. And there's Tyler's Fry Money coming in every live stream. Love to see it. Text to speech, are you live? I think my text to speech is slightly broken. Try it again. There it is. She's struggling today.
Ah shit, here we go again. Best stream in the world, PetPyves live stream.
Aww.
I've been tipping Hawley for a while now, but Fry's money don't give a shit. On that note, congrats on completing the Wild Child era.
Oh, thank you, Tyler. Thank you so much, dude. Yeah, it's been a huge accomplishment, guys. I managed to go out and I did get a lovely steak dinner that I cooked for Wild Child, because that was, as she said, one of her favorite things. So I did celebrate. I went out and got some ice cream, went to an arcade, made some steak. I did some fun celebratory things of my own for Wild Child. But yeah. First off, I guess I will address a couple things here. Yes, Wild Child's still here. It is mildly heartbreaking to me that a lot of people are treating her like she's dead and that she's gone forever just because I finished telling her aspects of the story. She's not gone, guys. She's right here. Like, she's still with me, and you'll see her come out a lot the more and more I unmask. But yeah, just so you know, it was hurting her little feelings that everybody was treating her like it was goodbye forever, and it definitely isn't. So if that brings you any sense of comfort, I know quite a few people were very upset that I had to come to a close, but hey, let this be a lesson and all good things come to an end. And let's celebrate the fact that we got an ending at all, and that it was finished, and that it's complete. And let's, instead of asking for more, take a step back and realize that the content culture on a lot of social media platforms have trained you to be a consumer and not an enjoyer. So let's take a step back and let's enjoy what we have, and let's say thank God for the good times and fuck God for the bad times, because I sure did share all of it, huh? Man, yeah, so let's take it all in and let's enjoy it and let's appreciate where we're at, because man, it took a lot to get here and I don't want to take that for granted, you know? The whole point of the last episode was that, yes, Silver, you're right, but I have to state this for the people who need some help with the media literacy. Nevertheless, I want to go over every little episode in Year 8 because there's a lot to talk about, and I hide lots of sneaky little things and have extra little stories I'd like to tell you about every single one of them. So, without further ado, let's jump all the way back to the Imagination episode. I believe that is... what number is that? Number 96. Year 8 was actually kind of a long year, you know? So, yes, this episode was literally exactly how it happened. I was bored because, you know, back in the 90s or the early 2000s, we basically had cartoons on all Saturday. It was like a Saturday marathon. They would pick like one cartoon, they play that one cartoon, and I would love marathoning on Saturdays. And so it was Sunday, and I was like, oh no, my cartoons are off, this is terrible. What am I gonna do? I'm bored. And then I realized, wait, I just want to make my own episodes, so I ran into my little bed tent.
Just wanted to pop in and say congrats on completing Year 8.
Aww.
Hawley, you are amazing. Hope you are well. Booby smile.
Booby smile. I think that was supposed to be boo-bye, but it's Booby smile.
Sending love from me and my baby bean.
Oh, thank you, lazy artist. Oh my goodness, guys. This is so sweet. Thank you. Thank you, Raven. That is so nice. And yes, I'm doing very well. I'm feeling a lot lighter. My chest has a big weight lifted off of it. I feel healed. I feel so much better, and it's only going to get better from here. And thank you, Lazy Artist. Thank you, Raven. That's so sweet. Give your baby bean lots of love for me. I always think about when I get like sad at any point during a live stream because I'm like reliving something. I'm always like, somebody's pet's here probably.
We starting the Hawley-thon.
Yeah, Maddie, let's go! The holothon! The holothon has begun. Let's go. That's so sweet, dude. Thank you, Maddie. But yeah, I always think about people's pets where I'm like, oh, there's people's pets are here. Like, it's okay. So, yeah. So, basically, I don't know if you guys had any of these things, but I had a little bed tent as a kid. And they were, like, kind of popular in the 2000s. They're, like, literally, like, a tent that you can attach to the side of, like, your bed. Like, you can, like, there's, like, elastic straps that, like, go around the edges of the bed. And then you can set up, like, a little tent, and then you can, like, sleep in there. I don't know. It was, like, a huge thing when I was a kid. I freaking loved my bed tent. It was kind of like my safe space. Even had little, like, windows that were, like, made of, like, plastic so you could still look out of them. It was awesome. So, I went into there, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna turn on the TV, and I'm gonna close my eyes, and I'm gonna, like, I'm gonna put my imagination that's in my head and put it into reality, and I'm gonna see it with my eyes. I'm gonna make imagination real, because I know SpongeBob said imagination's real, so I know I can do this. And I was sitting there trying so hard, and then I did it, and I was, like, freaking out, and I was like, oh my god! This means so much to me now, because that means I can do whatever I want. Whatever my mind so desires, I can make a reality, and this was, like, such an awakening for me. Because, of course, then Wild Child went running around as a cat. Most of my childhood, I was a cat. And that's kind of just the beginning of, like, I don't know, I guess that level of consciousness when you're a kid. When you, like, kind of, I don't know, wake up and you're like, whoa, wait, critical thinking, holy shit. And then, like, suddenly you're, like, alive. So, like, yeah, that just kind of happened. And I thought that was a really fun episode to talk about. Oh, I'm glad. Okay, good. I'm glad you guys are learning about 90s to 2000s culture, talking about the bed tents. They were freaking amazing. They don't exist anymore. I already tried to Google to find one. Unfortunately, they just don't exist. It makes me very sad. But yeah, this was based off of my experience of gaining the imagination achievement, as I called it, which eventually led to the next episode, 97, Cat. Which is where I ran around pretending to be a cat, and whenever I share these, I like to turn off the little subtitles so you guys can see the full art behind the subtitles, because a lot of the times it kind of gets lost behind subtitles. But, so yes, basically, I ran around pretending to be a cat most of my childhood, and it was definitely a thing where, like, it's it's giving closeted furry, I know, but, like, I feel like every kid kind of undergoes this, like, thing where they, like, believe they are a character or an animal or something, and it's just kind of part of, like, the imaginative process. But I definitely took mine to a different level because, like, autism hyperfixation is always on another level. So I was, like, super fixated on being a cat, and I always wore my Halloween costume, like, little black cat tail, and, like, I had little ears, and, like, I'd, like, even when I didn't have it, I would, like, always imagine my tail moving and stuff, you know? And everybody'd always be like, that's so cute, and then I'd get so mad at them, and I'd be like, I'm a cat! Stop telling me I'm not a cat. I'd eat my Cheerios out of a bowl on the floor like an animal, and my parents just allowed it, by the way. They would just look at me eating off the floor, and they're like, yeah, nah, anyways. Like, they're so done with my bullshit. It's so funny, man. But yeah, like, I would also, this is like a major thing that I would do, actually.
I think it's a pretty universal neurodivergent experience to discover your imagination and immediately turn yourself into a cat.
Froggy, you're so right. Also, I love your little icon. That's so cute. You're like a pink frog. That's so cute. Wonderful username and icon combo you got there. Love it. But yeah, no, you're absolutely right. I feel like it's a very common thing to be like, whoa, I could be anything I want? Time to be a cat! Like, yeah! Or a dog or whatever. Like, literally whatever. Oh. Oh, man. But yeah. I would basically, this is like a thing that I would do because, I was like obsessed with running as a kid. I'd be running around constantly. And so like I'd always put my hands out in front of me. Kind of like, you know, the what they call the autism T-Rex arms, where you like dangle your hands in front of your chest like a dinosaur. I would do that, but only when I was running and pretending I was like a cat with like 4 legs. So like always did that my whole life, and like I just never really thought much of it, and I was like, wow, that's definitely another autism trait that was just slid under the radar because I only did it when I was being a cat, but still did it nonetheless. So but yeah, I could also like, I guess this is not a common thing, I can move my ears at will. I could like wiggle my ears. Some people can't do that. Like, there's like certain like weird skills I know people that can't do, where it's just like, oh, like people can like shake their eyes or like wiggle their ears or stuff like that, and it's just like, I could do that. I practiced really hard because I really wanted to be able to move my ears like a cat, so I could be like, I'm gonna flatten my ears because I'm annoyed. You know, it's giving so much Warrior Cats energy, but like, I wasn't a Warrior Cats kid yet because they didn't exist yet. But it's really funny. Oh god, so yeah, like, I also just, like, would, like, fight my parents when they'd have to cut my nails. I have a huge ick with nails. I hate nails so much. Like, talk to anybody that knows me, and I will they know how much I hate, like, toenails, fingernails. They just terrify and ick me out so bad. It's like, I hate even saying the words, but, like, I would fight my parents on cutting them because I wanted them to be sharp, because I wanted to scratch people. Like, apparently, like, I remember this kid, oh my god, this poor child, who I, like, had beef with. We sat in the back of the class together in, like, 2nd grade, maybe, I think, maybe 3rd grade by this point. It was probably 3rd grade, no, it was 3rd grade for sure. So I was, like, in 3rd grade in the back of the class, and this person would always be picking on me and, like, testing me, dude, and they would be like, I'm saying they because I'm pretty sure they go by they, them now, so just being respectful of who they are now, you know. Yo! Oh my god, another member, dude. Thank you, Boingle. It's an awesome username. Holy shit, that's awesome. You're a token. How cool, dude. Welcome to the club. Welcome to the club. Being a token. Oh, Toko's gonna be a great series. I can't wait for you guys to see more of all my upcoming projects. But yeah, this kid would always be like testing me, being like, I bet you can't scratch me.
Warriors cats? Nah, aristocats. Everybody wants to be a cat.
Yeah! Everybody. Yes, you're so right. Everybody wants to be a cat. That's probably it. Honestly, I was obsessed with the Aristocats. You're so right. You're so right. Yeah, thank you, Tyler. That's appropriate for the era, for sure. But yeah, this kid would be like, oh, I bet you can't scratch me. I bet you can't, like punch me or kick me without the teacher getting mad. Like, would, like, antagonize me. So, like, yeah, I did scratch them. Like, yeah, I sure did do that. I scratched them, and then they got all upset when I did it. But, like, dude, you were asking for it. You were, like, begging me to do it. I was like, I'm a cat, I'll show you. And I, like, freaking got him. I'm like, dang, dude. So, like, yeah, Wild Child went around just scratching and hissing at people. To my dismay, and I just love this animation so much of her, like, meow. It's so cute. It's so cute. I love it so much. But yeah, that's my cat saga. That went on for a while. Like, a while. I loved it though. It was fun. As cringe as it is, I don't regret it. I think it's fun. Alright, the next episode is honestly, I'm very excited to talk about this one because it's really funny. This one seems to be quite a popular one from your age. This is episode, 98. This is Intruder. So this is a story about how a snake got into our house, which, you know, that happens when you live in Florida. It really does. It really, truly happens a lot in Florida. Like, the critters get inside all the time, especially when it rains. And it rains a lot in Florida. So, yeah. One day I was playing my Game Boy on the couch. Wow.
I was a totally different kind of kid. I genuinely believed I had wind powers and spoke to the wind like it was my child XD.
Oh my god, what? It's a Wolfie animator, that is so funny. Thank you for the donation. But like, that is so funny. You know, my brother was like that. My brother was convinced that he could control the rain and thunder. Like, if he clapped, it would thunder in a rainstorm. So he'd be sitting outside when it's like pouring rain and thundering and lightning outside, just clapping his hands, being like, I'm making the lightning! And I'd have to drag him inside all the time because he was gonna get struck! He was gonna get struck if it wasn't careful. So, like, yeah, maybe they're either you're an animal child or you're an element child, is what we're learning here today, folks. That's pretty awesome. But yes, I was just playing my Game Boy, and my mother was like, hey, you're going to your dad's tonight, pack up your stuff. I already had my stuff packed up, I was ready to go. By that point, we were like in the point of my parents' divorce where we had a really set schedule. It was like going to my parents' house every other day, which was exhausting, but every other day was like mom, dad, mom, dad, mom, dad. So like, I was all ready to go. I had this down. I was playing Mario. I was like, whatever. And she came out of the shower and she's like, okay, I'll take you guys to your dad's. Just let me go get dressed. And then she walks into the kitchen. And this is the part that I definitely, like, have, like, I guess dramatized for the sake of comedy. She didn't actually pick it up, just so everybody's aware. She didn't pick it up. She actually, I think it's a little worse what she did. She kicked it. She kicked it. She kicked the snake because she thought it was a toy to kick it out of the way. I just thought it would be a little bit better to show on camera if it was, like, really, like, focused on the frame, so that's why, she picked it up. Technically, she didn't do that. She kicked it out of the way. So, yeah, my mom kicked a real live snake in the kitchen while she was trying to get to the laundry room where her clothes were in the dryer. And then goes, oh my god, this toy is so scary, pick up your stupid toys. And I was like, what toy? And I was like, we don't have a snake toy. To which she runs for her life. And then I'm all excited because I'm like, whoa, it's a black racer! Like, I know exactly what type of snake it is. I'm all like, oh my god, this is so cool, it's in our house. I'm never allowed to bring the critters inside. Oh, this is so exciting. So, like, I'm all happy. And meanwhile, she's on the table screaming to call 911, which is so dramatic, by the way. Like, who calls 911 over a snake, dude? Like, those poor police officers. But, like, you can see a little bit of Blackbird coming out in Wild Child right here, because she's just like, oh my god, whatever, hello, there's a snake in our house. Like, she's so done. And she's like, okay, bye. I love that for her so much. It's so good. So, like, yeah, the police came, But before that, she was like, oh my god, wait, bring me my clothes. And me and my brother were like, oh my god, she's naked up there. So she was trapped on her little dinner table island as the snake, like, hovered around intentionally. That thing was so mad at her. Oh my god. So, yeah, the police ended up showing up, ended up being, like, probably, hopefully the non-emergency, like, I'm pretty sure, like, they figured out that I was, like, a child calling and being like, there's a snake in the house, and they're like, well, hello, child? So then they sent people with, like, these little, like, metal tongs, and they picked up the snake and put him back outside, which was really dumb, by the way, because I remember offering to my mother, being like, hey, I can pick it up and take it outside. I pick up snakes all the time. I just take it outside. And she was like, no, oh my god, no, it's gonna bite you. Oh my god, blah, 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 blah. Like, she was like, scared it was gonna bite me or something, but like, she was so stupid, because I was gonna take it out without having to bother the police, but whatever, dude, whatever. It was resolved, and she got humiliated, and it's a glorious moment in my life to reminisce on the fact that she got some much needed karma. It's just a really fun episode. I loved animating this one. It was silly. We definitely needed it after a lot of seriousness that had come up. We go through like a really nice bout of good. Because like I said, like the very first episode of Persona, my life is very balanced. It's very much like good and bad, and we kind of go back and forth on that. So this is kind of a good run here we have going on. But the next episode I'm going to talk about is 99 Toilet Paper Money. This is about a birthday tradition that my dad started when I was in 3rd grade. Really sweet and really cute and wholesome. So, basically, we had a lot of stuff. Like, after the divorce had settled and everything and my dad got back on his feet, he was doing pretty good. And so, we ended up getting, like, a lot of our stuff moved between houses and, like, accumulated quite a lot of things. This is kind of a foreshadowing event. I do end up in a hoarding situation in Blackbird's era. So the hoarding situation's kind of beginning in this, and I mean, try as they might, they certainly tried to not let it develop into something like that, but you will see. It just kind of gets a little cluttered from here on out. So with that clutter, my father was like, yeah, I think you have enough stuff. We're just gonna give you money instead. Which was an idea for sure, but also the money led to us buying more things, so yeah. You know. So my dad was never the kind to just give us— oh, my cat's feeder is going off. He went running, oh my goodness. He was just napping right beside me, being all sweet, and he was like, food, bye! He just ditched me. Dang, alright. Alright, baby. Anyways. So my dad was really creative, and he never just gave us money. He always had to make it some kind of game. So this was the game he came up with. I don't know where he got this idea, because mind you, the internet was like fresh at this point. Like the internet was just barely coming around. We just had gotten computers like a couple years back. So like, it wasn't like he googled this, okay? Like this man just thought of this, because that was just how it was back then. So this man was like, man, I know what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna roll up every single dollar bill into a toilet paper roll and make these poor children unravel it all and make a giant mess. And it was so fun, dude. It was awesome. Like, every birthday, we always got so excited to, like, get a roll of toilet paper. Which, to everyone else, sounds utterly insane. You know, what child is excited about getting a roll of toilet paper? Says literally no one. But I sure was. He even got creative sometimes when we, like, it's pretty sad. We got, like, really poor eventually, obviously. We just kind of have bouts of being really poor, and then okay, and then really poor. But on the bout that we got really poor, we couldn't afford to waste our precious toilet paper on something silly like this. So my dad actually, like, for my brother's birthday once, took, like, my brother's entire bed, like, when we were over at my mom's house. We came back to my dad's house on my brother's birthday. And when my brother went to go to sleep that night, oh, cliffhanger!
What's it like to have cats? I can't have any because my mom hates them.
Aww, AJ the Dragon. Thank you for the donation. I'm sorry your mom will let you have cats. That's quite sad. Cats are fun because they're very much wanting attention on their terms. They're very silly. They'll always make you laugh. They're always up to no good, probably. I mean, my cat causes a lot of trouble. They're very much troublemakers. They're very different from dogs in the sense that they have strong boundaries. Dogs look at you and they view you as a god, but you look at a cat and the cat views itself as the god. So it's very much like a different dynamic than owning a dog, I definitely feel, and it's a lot of fun. It's definitely like they're a lot more chill. And they're nice companions. I mostly, my cat and I bond the most at night. We sleep back to back, like he literally sleeps right up against my back, and he's always there to protect me. And it's really sweet. But yes, back to the cliffhanger. So my dad, one time, my brother went to climb into his bed on his birthday, and every single sheet and blanket and pillowcase was lined with individual dollar bills. So he peeled back the bed and it was just money in there. He would find so many weird ways to hide our birthday money or like give us birthday money. Like, oh my god, it was so funny. I also want to take this moment to talk about something else silly that he did later on in Eras, because I'm not sure if I'll make an episode about this. But I'm gonna draw it for you. So basically my dad eventually did end up getting us like cards and stuff, because we kind of outgrew the like antics, I suppose. But he would always draw this character. Like my dad had an OC. Like my dad had an OC and he would always draw this OC on our birthday cards and stuff, which I don't know why, actually. Thinking about it, it's really weird. So he would draw this character and it was like, hold on, I used a really thick pen. Okay. So it was like this guy with sunglasses. Right? Like, he'd be, like, sunglasses. And then he'd have, like, really long hair. Kind of like this. And then he'd have, like, a beard, I think. Kind of like this. And my dad would draw this on, like, all of our birthday cards. He'd draw this guy. And his name was Stan Stone. And I don't know what is up with that, but my dad would always draw Stan Stone on our birthday cards after a while. He was just like this rock and roll dude that my dad, like, was just like, happy birthday, a little Stan Stone in the corner, and you're like, what is that? And he's like, that's Stan Stone, and I'm like, who is that? Who is this man? My dad had a freaking OC, dude. That's really funny, and so I wanted to bring that up, at least somewhere, because it's really funny. That this man just had a really random OC that was just kind of a self-insert, like, it kind of looked like him. So yeah, that's the silly birthday antics episode. And then we go to episode 100, which, honestly, you guys tend to like a lot more than I thought you would. I was like, I don't know about this episode, like, seems a little, like, random, like, but no, you guys seem to like Bubblegum quite a bit, so let's talk about Bubblegum. Bubblegum is an episode where I talk about daycare sucking. We literally be clinging to the fences, like, just praying to go home as soon as humanly possible. Oh god, that scared me.
Maybe I'm just in denial, but I tend to view cats more like roommates than a god. You never know what roommate you will get. Sometimes they're friendly, sometimes they're very independent, and sometimes they're mean. Dogs though, they're children.
That is such a good mindset, Tyler! Yes! Thank you for sharing, holy crap, yeah, that's a very good description. Absolutely. I was just referencing like there's like a TikTok or like YouTube audio that's like somebody where they're talking about how dogs are like, whoa, this person feeds me, they must be God. And then the cats are like, wow, this person feeds me, I must be God. So I was making a reference, but yeah, no, your description is much better. Absolutely, they are like roommates. Oh, no, it's not. I wish it was a pun, Corwin. No, nothing makes sense with my father. My father makes no sense. Oh my god.
Sandstone supremacy.
Sandstone. I don't know what. You know, I might make an episode about it, maybe in like Parker's era, where Parker's like, man, I love making OCs. That reminds me, my parents had OCs, and then we'll like go into it or something. I don't know. It's up for grabs. It might be a thing, because that would be really fun. Thank you, Mal, for the donation. But yeah, Wild Child explains the very complex little system we had of joint custody with my parents, and how exhausting it was because they made sure it had to be an exact perfect split or else they would throw fits. Fun little detail is that Wild Child's very overwhelmed by this, and Dad kind of takes the backpack, so he literally takes the weight off of us. Because he knows that this is kind of a terrible situation that we're being forced into. But we'd always go to convenience stores, and back then Hess existed, and if you don't know what Hesses are, they were basically these green convenience stores, and they were always known for their commercials and their big trucks, and they always sold these little toy trucks for Christmas, and it was like every kid's dream to get a Hess truck for Christmas. At least where I'm from. I might be out myself as a very southern little bumpkin right now, but like, I wanted a Hess truck so bad as a child, and I did not get one. Rip my Hess truck desires. But anyways, we would go to the Hess near our house, and I would always get the freaking Kool-Aid, little burst bottles, the little squeezy bottles, and then like some gum. But the raspberry ice cube gum was my favorite. They don't make raspberry anymore, unfortunately, which sucks, because it was really good. But I'd always get some kind of bubble gum. That one was just my favorite. I also liked the little Hubba Bubbas, like even like the rolls. I always liked the Trident gum to, you know, pretty much any kind of gum. Now that I'm thinking about it, I was like kind of gum obsessed as a child. Oh, and Juicy Fruit and Zebra Stripes. I mean, I'm just thinking of all the gums that I used to love. Those were it, though. And then we'd sing in the car, we'd have so much fun, like, with Dad all the time, and then we get to this little part before we get to my dad's house, which, this is another very southern thing. Oh, I didn't mean to close that. It's, something we called the mile stretch. The mile stretch was a stretch road that went on for approximately 1 mile. And it had no speed limit because it was a private road. And it was full of potholes, so you had to swerve out of the way and pray to God there ain't nobody else on the other side or else you're gonna get in a crash! So people would honestly use the mile stretch for racing and mudding and all sorts of fun redneck activities. Yay for that! But the mile stretch was our favorite because it was essentially the lawless land where we could stick our whole bodies outside of the car and not get in trouble. Was that good? Was that safe? No. But you know what? It was fun. It was fun, and my dad was so real for letting us do this. We'd sit literally right outside the window.
Bubble gum. Bazooka Zooka bubble gum.
Aw, Sachi Coco Bazooka gum was really good, yeah. You're so real for that. Thank you for the dono. Skittles gum? I've never had that, but that sounds delicious. Oh my god. That's awesome. But yeah, we'd literally stick our whole bodies out and hang on to, like, the, you know, the little, like, the little handles that are above the windows in cars where, like, you can hang on? We would hang on to those. And that's like, terrifying to think about now. I'm like, oh my god. And, like, my dad would, like, speed up. He would go fast, too. Because we'd be like, yeah! Like, screaming with our heads out the windows. Like a bunch of crazies. And it was just, like, the most fun part of my day. Like, no matter what was going on, no matter if I was being bullied or, like, dealing with some hard schoolwork, whatever I had going on, I at least knew I had that to look forward to at the end of the day when I was with Dad.
Have you seen Adventure Time in ReZero?
I have not AJ the Dragon. Thank you for the dono. No, I have not seen either of those. I'm very slow to consuming new content because I kind of am in a point with my, I guess, my traumas, my healing journey, that I'm very much like, just kind of referring to things that are comfortable and, familiar to me, so I haven't watched anything that's, like, new to me yet, but I'd like to get to that point. I'm hoping by the end of Persona Project I'll be able to try new things again, because as of right now, I really truly can't. I'm very much, like, kind of stuck in everything that I've already known, because it's just safer that way. But yeah, that was my story about the bubblegum. I gotta give you guys a fair warning for the next episode. I'm gonna talk about some sadness. We're gonna talk about some pet death here, animal death, so be warned. I'm gonna put a little content warning up on the screen. There we go. We're gonna talk about some of Wildchild's first pets, and we're gonna talk about what happened to them. So, this episode's called Turtle. Originally was titled Turtle Murder, but I thought that was a little intense, so I toned it down. This one starts off with Wildchild seeing some they're gerbils. They're far more evil. I used to have two gerbils, when I was a kid. One of them was named Speeder, and the other one was Templeton. And they were horrible and evil and awful little guys. They were very mean. But they had, like, passed away naturally. They don't have very long lifespans, and so my dad was taking me to our local pet store, and I remember looking at the pets, and I had no idea that day he was actually going to let me take one home. And so I got really excited because every time we went there, I would always be drawn to the turtle tank, and I'd be watching them swim around, and, like, they had this big open pond in this pet store. It wasn't like an actual fish tank, it was like a big open pond kind of structure in, like, the middle of the store. It was really cool. It was not like a corporation pet store, it was like a local. So it was always so much fun to watch them swim in the pond, and I was like, I want a turtle, oh my god. So I picked out this little yellow belly, and I named him Scooter, because he was really fast. And I took him home, and Scooter was my little guy. I loved Scooter so much. But then, of course, my poor little brother, who was just a baby at the time, can't blame him for this at all, was playing in the fish tank because, you know, kids love water, and all that fun stuff. And I don't think my brother necessarily understood that, like, my pet was in there. And oh, Indigo, thank you!
What are your thoughts on axolotls?
I love axolotls. Actually, you know what's really funny that you say that? Thank you for the dono. I'm actually listening to a Minecraft, like, compilation, and in the background it has axolotls swimming. So, like, yes, I love axolotls. They're very cute, and I think they're beautiful little guys. I mean, I'm all for aquatic creatures, man. They some of my favorites ever. But yeah, my brother unfortunately did crush my turtle with a giant rock, and I witnessed the entire thing. It was very traumatic. It was very sad. I didn't include very much detail because I don't want to traumatize everybody else along with me, but just trust me, it was very gory and gruesome, and it was so freaking sad. And I remember that my brother did feel really bad about it, but I never blamed him for it. We never, like, resented my brother for that. Like, we were always like, oh, you know, you're just a baby, you didn't know, it's okay. So, like, no hard feelings, just a sad event. It happens. Nothing's perfect. But I was very dramatic, and I just want to show you how this is so dramatic. I went outside, and oh god, this is so sad. I buried him right outside, like, my window at my dad's house. And I basically took 2 plastic straws and taped them together and made a cross. And I sat out there and prayed for, like, 2 hours. Like, I did not take it okay. I'm laughing now because it's just, like, it's pitiful. It's pitiful in, like, a, oh, you poor baby kind of way. Where I'm like, oh, darling, oh, dear. But I didn't take it well, and I was miserable. Because, like, obviously, throughout Persona Project, Wild Child has struggled with mortality, and existentialism, and so having death so close to her, it definitely doesn't make her feel very good. So it was definitely a thing where I definitely had the trickster nearby, because the trickster embodies my anxiety and my depression, and I feel like this is just a very depressive moment.
Opinion on dinosaurs?
Ooh. I mean, it should go without saying. AJ the Dragon, thank you again for the dono. Wow, you're on a roll today. Dinosaurs are some of my favorite things. Obviously, my favorite is the plesiosaur. Hawley era is literally all dinosaurs. But yes, thank you for the questions, but yeah, I am in the middle of this little bit of a serious thing. But it should be pretty obvious that I love dinosaurs. They're beautiful. And also, welcome, Gotcha Noka. Welcome to the club. You are now a Peevlet. Yay, yay. This is so much fun. Welcome, welcome. Oh, but yes, back to sad. The trickster is the embodiment of my depression and anxiety. So, the depressiveness of feeling like everything I love dies is like a very strong thing to be feeling at the age I was. 8 years old that's a big emotion of just... That's like, what we call, like, oh, what are they called? They're not core memories. They're more like core negative beliefs is what they're called. And it's a belief that, I don't have, like, the trust in the universe that I once had, because I've experienced loss too many times by this point, and I was feeling depressed about it, even at 8 years old. And I think it's really important to, like, recognize the fact that, like, even as children, we can still have anxiety, we can still have depression symptoms, and they can show up in a lot of different ways. So, like, I didn't want to discredit Wild Child, because it's definitely there, and she's been carrying around the trickster for a while in a lot of other shorts, and my parents did everything they could to try to distract me from that. My dad immediately went out, bought a new turtle, and was like, look, I found, Scooter's brother, Flipper. This is Flipper the turtle, yeah! And so, this also contributes to another personality disorder that I developed later on in life, which is called avoidant personality disorder, because I was always distracted and taught to dissociate from reality. And this is just another one of those, like, kind of, like, foreshadowing moments in my life where, I had to cope with the fact that my pets died, but it's okay, because I could just get a new one, and I can just distract myself and not actually feel the grief I need to feel. And I tried to express it here. She's not entirely happy with this outcome. It's definitely not something she wanted. I know when I was a kid, I was like, I don't want a turtle ever again, this was a bad experience, and then without my say, I got another turtle. Like, it was just an immediate, like, oh, just get over it, here's a new one, and it was just, like, so abrupt to me, like, I didn't really have time to mourn the way I should have, so there's just a lot of problems that developed from this one memory. And it was a very pivotal moment for me. But now we're gonna delve back into Happy Land. No more content warning. Yippee! Let's go back and talk about the Figure 8 episode, which is just so much dang fun. we're gonna talk about the lovely speedboat that my dad got. I can't remember the name of it. I wrote it down in the description because I went and looking through Wild Child's old journals trying to find the name of the boat. And I know it's in the description, I just don't remember what it is right now. So, oh goodness. Yep, my dad eventually ended up getting a speedboat. And it was the best thing ever. Me and my best friend, who we call Jill in the Wild Child era, we would all go out boating, me and my brother and Jill and my dad, and I would get to water ski, and I would go tubing and swimming, and my favorite thing was sitting at the very, very front of the boat. There was two, like, handles on the very front, so I could sit right on the front of the nose of the boat. And I remember being, like, so determined, sitting on the front, going so fast, and I'd be like, alright, we're on Wave Watcher's duty, so if there's any big waves, I have to let Dad know, or else we'll go flying. We will go flying, like, if we, basically I was in charge of telling my dad when there was any big waves, out on the lake, because if there was, the boat would be, like, jumping out of the water, because we were such a light and speedy boat. So it was my job to make sure I told Dad if waves were coming, and I'd have to give him, like, a thumbs up, because he was right behind me driving. I have to give him a thumbs up and be like, hey Dad, big wave coming. So I'd be all determined sitting at the front like, it's time to be a wave watcher. Yeah! And I'd be like, looking out for the big waves so that way we wouldn't go freaking flying. And then afterwards, we would sit in, like, underneath the little dashboard of the other seat. There was, like, a driver's seat and then there was another seat. And we'd sit under there to hide from the sun and eat our little Lunchables and Capri Suns, and, like, it was just such a good time, except when my dad would cook fish. Like, my dad would catch and cook fish on the boat, and we hated it. We hated it so much. It was so bad. But, whenever you go tubing, my dad would basically be like, man, this is boring, you guys are not doing very much. So he would fling us around using this tactical move called the famous deadly figure eight, where he would basically take his boat and go in a figure eight as fast as he could and, like, throw us off the tube, which was always successful. We never made it. We never survived those figure eights. And I love tubing to this day. It was so exhausting though. I have no idea how I do it nowadays. Oh my god, I think I'd die. But yeah, we would, like, conk out in the car. Like, we couldn't even make it home before we'd be passed out tired. Because my dad was just like, we're gonna wear these kids out. It's just so much fun, man. Such a great memory for me. I love boating. I love tubing. I love water sports. It's so freaking cool to me to think that I used to go water skiing. Like, wow. It's, like, a hard thing to do, even for a kid. Like, dang, that's, like, awesome. Go Wild Child, you know? Alright, trucking along here. We're pulling up the next episode. You can always tell which ones have the most animation detail because it takes forever to load, which is really funny. This one's 103 Rainforts. I actually animated this one on a live stream for my members. We have members-only streams sometimes, and I animated the entire thing on stream from start to finish. It was awesome. It was the first time I ever did anything like that. So I have really fond memories of, like, making this episode. But it's about how my brother used to be really scared of the rain, and I taught him this little trick that my dad taught me about. When you hear the lightning, or you see the lightning, you have to listen for the thunder, and whenever the thunder starts, that's basically how many miles away it is. So I taught him, like, a little trick to feel better, and then we made rain forts, and basically we would take blankets and take mattresses and, like, all sorts of stuff and make these really elaborate forts to hide in. But, like, I think this is the funniest detail ever, because my dad was, like, a construction worker, like a contractor, electrician. He had a lot of just tools lying around, and one big rule that my dad used to have was, this is a tool, not a toy. And so he would only allow us to use the tools if we needed a tool, not a toy. So I, you know, Wild Child being a very literal thinker, was like, I need to hang up this blanket. but thumbtacks aren't strong enough to hold the blanket on the wall. I know what I'm gonna use. I'm going to take an industrial staple gun, and I'm gonna staple this blanket to the wall. Yes, folks, my father allowed me, an 8-year-old, to handle a staple gun. Like an actual one, I don't know, the ones you use for roofing? Yeah, so I went around stapling our blankets to the wall pretty much permanently. Like, they were not going goddamn anywhere because they were there permanently, dog. Like, we would rip holes in our stuff because we couldn't get the freaking staples out because it was not meant to be, like, used for making rain forts. But yeah, that's why I included that little staple detail. And the Christmas lights, of course. Small tiny detail of the little blanket from the divorce/homeless episode is at the bottom there. I like to reuse things like that. I like continuity. Life is a continuous strand of events. Also, another fun little bit of details for my brother. He had this little Pikachu pillow that was like his prized possession. Like, this Pikachu pillow was like his beloved stuffed animal, along with his Taigi. But Pikachu pillow is in the fort, and then he also had this pillow as a child that was like the striped, like white and blue pillow. And it was, we for some reason called it the baby pillow. I'm not entirely sure why we called it baby pillow, but the baby pillow was like a huge deal to my brother as well. So like, we had all of our fond pillows in the fort, and I had to include that detail for my brother specifically, in case he ever watches these and wants to remember some stuff about our lives. Because he has the kind of trauma where he doesn't remember anything, and I have the trauma where I remember everything. So... but this is the episode that kind of foreshadows the end of Wild Child's era, because it's the moment where I realize Wild Child's never gonna grow up. I just kind of have this revelation that I'm like, oh, wait, she's not gonna grow up. She doesn't realize that yet, but I do, and that's just a little part of storytelling that you can see very early on. I am gonna put a little content warning up for the next episode, because I'm gonna talk about some a little bit of sad stuff, mostly silly, but there's some sad undertones to the episode. And whenever that happens, I like to be extra safe, because I don't want you guys to be sad or uncomfortable, just because I'm talking about my life, which happens to be quite sad. At times... Goodness, this one's... Oh no, I X'd it out! No, I don't know! No, come on, program, don't do that to me. That was sad. Sad. Don't get me wrong, I have a strong program, but man, I do put it through the ringer with all my animations. Because I animate a lot, guys. But yeah, this episode kicks off with me and my brother on the couch playing the Wii. We're playing Wii Sports, life's good. We just came out of the swimming pool, though, and, my dad was always like, hey, don't sit on the couch all wet, you're gonna ruin the couch. Oh shoot, my PNG tuber just went boom. Oh god. I'm frozen! Oh no! Oh well. GG on that, I'll get her rebooted. Sometimes she just does not, she just dies, like, poor thing. Oh, yep, there it goes. Dang, GG. I'll get her back up, hold on. Come here. Come on back now. Whoop! I fixed it. There we go. Come on. There you go. Now she's awake. Welcome back, PNG YouTuber Hawley. Alright, so, anyways, my dad always had this rule of like, hey, don't go on the furniture all wet, it'll ruin the furniture. So we thought, intellectuals, hey, we're wearing a towel, technically we're drying, we're not wet. And then my dad would be like, that's it, you're going on the ceiling. and my dad would hang us upside down by our ankles, and make us put our feet on the ceiling, and he called it the toe hanger. The toe hanger was, I think, was supposed to be a form of gentle parenting punishment. Where it was just like, yeah, like, you're being a little shit, you get to be held upside down, and all the blood's gonna rush to your head. And it was just kind of like a little silly thing that my dad would do. And, like, he would always get us, and, like, we loved it. Like, we'd be sitting there like, yeah, do it again, yay! Like, we'd be so happy, and I'd be like, I think this is a punishment. But, you know, like, I always look back, and this is the thing, that I have this thought a lot when I'm working on Persona Project. Like, when I'm animating, and I'm, like, staring at my frames, I'm like, you know, these are the things that you're gonna remember most. Like, when you're a kid, I don't know why people don't think kids won't remember stuff. 'Cause, like, I remembered everything. To the dismay of these poor people. Who get put on blast on the internet literally daily, because I don't forget a damn thing they did to me, and I'm not gonna let them get away with it. But, it's just interesting how, I guess a lot of people and adults kind of forget how smart kids are. They kind of dismiss how much they are actually able to retain. Because what I remember about each of my parents, it's very telling what they were like. Because, like, obviously I don't remember every single little tiny thing, but I do remember a lot more than the usual person. And my dad never did anything terrible to punish me. But my mom, on the other hand, was the abusive one. My mom was the physical, very abrasive, verbal, like, all-around abusive one. And my dad, the worst thing he ever did was put me in front of the microwave. Which I did a little countdown animation for, which was kind of cute. But yeah, I was sitting in front of the microwave. He'd basically turn on the timer on the microwave and be like, okay, when the timer runs out, you can leave. But you have to sit here and think about what you did. Or he would hang me upside down by my ankles. And to cover all my bases, I know a lot of people had commented this. They were like, where's Child Protective Services? Why didn't you tell somebody at school? Blah, blah, blah. Why didn't you tell somebody? Why didn't you tell somebody? I'm just gonna say right now, guys, that's not a very fun thing to say. That's not a very correct thing to say. It's borderline victim blaming. I was 8 years old. You really think I could call CPS? You think I knew what that was at 8 years old? Come on. Also, I did talk to people in school, and it got me hurt worse. So, I had been given a lot of bad lessons in speaking up, and so I didn't speak up. Because I was also taught that this was normal, and that it was okay to be hit, and it was okay to be abused. So, when you don't know anything else as a kid, what is there to report if I've been gaslit into thinking that it is normal? So, don't sit there and try to say, well, why didn't you do something? It's not my fault I was abused. Trying to make it be like, oh, well, you should have got out there, you should have called, or you should have. You're just putting even more blame on somebody who is already in a shitty circumstance they didn't ask for. So just think about it before you tell somebody that, oh, you should have talked to an adult. There was nothing I could have done, and I can assure you that. Just accept the fact that I was a victim, and I still am a victim. That does not change. And that, you know, that's not the answer sometimes. You know, also on top of it, CPS teachers, all that good stuff, they rarely did their jobs, unfortunately. This is also in the, you know, early 2000s. Very different time. Very, very different time. So just be aware. Those comments were very irritating to me. Because it's just a little bit, a little dense, I guess, to be being like, oh, well, you should have just called somebody. Like, dude, I'm 8 years old. Give me a break. Good lord. But yeah, I did tell the teachers. I did tell, because I literally would show up to school with marks on myself, like bruises. I'd have cuts. I'd have all kinds of messed up stuff, like, visible on my body a lot of the time. And, no, nobody cared about that. None of the adults who were sending me to school like that cared. But the teachers noticed, and then they did get me to, like, I remember this so vividly, like, it was, like, more than one teacher in a room. They got, like, a bunch of people in the room, and they were, like, interrogating me and asking me about, like, my home life. And I was just telling them, because, like, they told me it was a safe place. They said, oh, you're safe here, you can tell us the truth. And I said, oh, okay. My autistic ass being like, sure! And then I told them everything, and they had, like, a literal, they confronted my abuser. Like, what a terrible thing to do! Like, what a dumb thing to do! What a dumb thing to do! Like, I'm sorry, but, like, I was still in the house when they were calling her. Like, I went home and they called her while I was there! Like, what a dumb thing to do! They just put me in so much danger. Those adults were so stupid. It's just one of those things where it's like, I just kind of wish they would have gotten, like, real authorities involved or something, like, cause yeah, like, I got my ass beat over that, like, my mom came after me after that, man, like, it was not good, like, this is the whole point of this episode is, like, this is no wonder why victims can't speak up, because when you do, it hurts you worse, which is why Persona Project was so hard for me to start, because it was just, like, it's the part about speaking up, and it's the part where I feared that I was gonna get hurt worse because of it, because I have this negative core belief that if I tell anybody what is happening to me, I'm gonna get hurt even worse. Sadly. But then we just kind of talk about how the tow hanger was the better of two evils. It was nice to have at least one gentle parent who I could trust to not harm me in such a way. It just made things a lot less complicated, obviously. But out of the bout of bad, we're gonna go into some good stuff now, because of course we have up and down, up and down. That's kind of how my life works. So, oh yeah, Sachikoko, you're right. Every adult did fail. Absolutely. That's the best way to describe my childhood, in like a sentence. Every adult in my childhood had failed me in some way. Very sad. Nothing I could do about that. But yes, let's talk about episode 105, Hair Tie Wars. Alright, so Hair Tie Wars was an epic childhood memory of mine. I loved animating this because I loved animating the millions of hair ties. It was so freaking fun, dude. And all the little details were so fun. Like, it's just me and my brother, we're hiding behind this, like, oh, what are those chairs called? You know those, like, round chairs that you can sit in? They're, like, kind of like, they're not, like, beanbags, but they have, like, a metal frame at the bottom, and they're kind of like little hammocks, I guess. I don't know how to describe them. We had these little round chairs that we were obsessed with as kids. And we were hiding behind them like giant shields, and we were, like, getting pummeled by my dad. There was a part of this episode I had to cut because it was really long, but the part that I cut explained why, like, how the hair tie war even, like happened. Because, like, basically, like, we were really poor, and we lived out of the dollar store nearby. And we had just gone to the dollar store and gotten, like, fresh, like, new supplies, which didn't happen often. And among them, we got a bunch of hair ties, and because, yeah, we were getting, our hair was getting really long. My brother had really long hair growing up, too. So, the whole premise of this was that we were like, okay, yay, we got new hair ties, let's open them up. Because me and my brother also like to put hair ties on our stuffed animals, like, as little bracelets on the stuffed animals, or, like, necklaces on the stuffed animals, you know? Like, we always thought they were just, like, more than just hair ties. But when we started doing that, my dad was like, hey, these are for you, not for your toys. This is a tool, not a toy. And then he started flinging them at us. And then we were like, but Dad, now you're making it into a toy. But now you're making it into a toy. And he was like, you know what? Fine, it is a toy. And he started flinging them at us. So there was, like, this whole part of the episode I couldn't include that set up the premise. But it's okay. Because I love the animation of me shaking, rocking, being like, we need ammo. Go out there and get us more hair ties. And we're being so dramatic, and I love doing the slow-mo, like, Rocky, he gets shot and gets killed. It's such a silly freaking episode, dude. It was just such a fun memory, and, like, I dragged my poor brother back and, like, eventually got my dad good enough that, like, he, like, quote-unquote died. And we, like, got him. It was just such a sweet memory to me that my dad took time to be fun and, like, whimsical with us. Like, he definitely kept up with the wildness of Wild Child and Rocky, which was so needed. And, you know, we had, like, all kinds of fun at my dad's house. We had a swimming pool. We had, like, my dad would take, anytime we had to do laundry, he would start this laundry train where he would take a skateboard, his old skateboard, and he would put the laundry basket on top of the skateboard and then skateboard the laundry down the hallway and be like, "It's the laundry train, the train's leaving, you gotta put your laundry in the laundry train." And we'd put all of our clothes in there, and then he would take it to the washer and dryer. But sometimes he would put us in it and give us laundry basket rides on the skateboard too, or just off the skateboard. He'd like fly the laundry basket around the house with us in it. So it was always just so much fun. Like, even the chores and stuff were fun. Like, he just always made everything so fun. And that was just kind of the point of this episode, was to talk about the two different dynamics of, like, this house that was, like, just a shell, like, just a year ago, is now, like, my home. Like, I put so many little details in here. Like, the Christmas lights were always up. We always had Christmas lights, like, all year round. All the way around every single room. Oh my god, my dad had so much Christmas lights. He was obsessed. So much so we almost never turn on the big lights. It was, like, very much a neurodivergent thing. But we had our beach towels, because we'd always be swimming. We had the Wiimotes. My brother's little sit and spin. My little Webkinz Google. My little books I would be writing. My little Pokemon action figures. Like, every little detail about this was, like, my home. It's just, yeah, like, compared to my mother's house, which was this, like, what I called the museum. It had, like, fake potted plants, and a brand new kitchen table, and a brand new couch. And it just, we weren't allowed to sit on the couch. That was, like, an actual legit true detail. I was not allowed to sit on my own couch as a child, because it was new leather, and we would ruin it with our icky childness. So my mother never allowed us to sit on the new furniture. We had to sit on the floor next to the furniture. Which, wow! What a purpose the furniture serves that you can't sit on! I wonder what furniture is supposed to be for! Okay, that's,
I like soup.
Nice, M. Creeper. Thanks for the dono, but... That's very off topic, but, you know, I mean, slay! Slay, dude. Thanks for the dono. It's actually pretty funny. But yeah, so I was just kind of comparing the two houses, and, like, at my dad's house, I was definitely a lot more allowed to be a child and, like, I don't know, a human being, to put it blankly. And we were allowed to tear up the yard and make mud piles, and we were allowed to be kids.
I just woke up tongue.
Oh my god, Fizzy. You're the one who asked if there was a stream today earlier, too. That's really funny. Welcome to the world of the living, Fizzy. But yeah, it was just a nice episode to reflect on the two different home lives I was now experiencing between my mother's very strict and very rigid, very untouchable, pristine house, and then my dad's house, which was just literally our home. My dad, very lovingly, anytime we would, like, I don't know, like, destroy something in the yard, like, we dug a big hole, or, like, left a soccer ball in the middle of the road, or whatever, he would call it lawn art. He would laugh, because his friends would come over and be like, "Oh my god, your kids destroy everything," and he'd laugh, and he'd be like, "It's art. It's art." That's, like, one thing I could say about my dad that I adore the most about that man. He really wanted to be a dad. He loved being a dad. Like, out of every person in my life, he actually wanted to be there, and he adored it. Like, any mess we made, it was art to him. Like, that's freaking beautiful, man. I have to recognize that and appreciate that about him. As much as it hurts. Because, yeah, like, Wild Child deserves that, for sure. Very few times I actually get what I deserve. Oh, thank you, Gachanoka. Let's go. I was waiting for the message to play, and then I was like, oh, there isn't a message. Just thank you for the dono. Very sweet, very nice, very cool. And you're now people too. Oh, you're on a roll today. TY, TY, TY. Moving on to my next episode here, I'm going to talk about the Gasparilla, which, if you're not from Florida, you probably have no idea what that word means, so I will run you through a quick little history lesson. That might not be true, it might be based off of fiction and not fact, but you know, it's okay, we're just here for the fun vibes. So what if I told you that there was a holiday we celebrate in Florida, or that's not a holiday, like a celebration in Florida, that's called Gasparilla, and it's basically Pirate Day. That's what this episode's about. We're talking about Pirate Day. Wild Child gets this adorable little pirate outfit. I loved it. It was so much fun to draw. It was so cute. We talk about basically how it's like this big, like, parade. And there's all these cool, like, pirate ship floats and people dress up as pirates and everybody gets, like, beads and candy and coins and, like, it's all about, like, just being a pirate and having fun. And there's, like, 2 different Gasparilla celebrations. There's, like, Kids Gasparilla, which is, like, obviously a lot more child-friendly. And then there's Adult Gasparilla, which is very much just a chance to drink a lot, and it's really not good. So I never liked Adult Gasparilla, but Kids Gasparilla was slay. It was slay. Maybe it is kind of like a Gulf thing. Yeah, maybe it is a Gulf Coast thing. Because Florida's very long. I forget how long Florida is. I'm talking more like central. Not north, not south. So, yeah, like, we'd always have these big, awesome, like, parades, and, like, it was based off of, like, this whole, like, legend about this pirate named Jose Gasparilla who, like, took over, like, an island festival, and he was, like, the last buccaneer, and, like, there's, like, his ship still sails at the beach, like, I think to this day, actually. The Gasparilla ship still sails, which is kind of cool. There's like this big red pirate ship that sails around in Florida still to this day. It's kind of fun, little tradition we'd go and do, and I'd talk to Wild Child, and I'm like, hey, I heard there's still treasure out there, and, you know, my mom always thought I was too old for that shit. She'd always be like, oh, you're grow up, like, you're acting like a baby, blah, 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 you don't need to go to this stupid shit anymore, blah, blah. You know, my mom was always just a fucking ball of sunshine. And so I finally had it, and I was like, you know what? Walk the plank, get out of here, and I stab her with my fake sword, and we push her overboard, and it's a silly fun time. And I really liked animating it because it was just very silly to be like, you know what? Walk the plank. We're done with you. Get out of here. I don't know if it's legit history or just a story. That's just what I remember about it. Don't quote me on this. It's just something that I was passed down throughout the many parades I went to. I was taught this story over and over again, so it could just be a word of mouth thing. I'm not sure if it's history. I'm pretty sure it's not, though.
Hey, I love your vids.
Oh, thank you, that one Galaxy Kid. Awesome. Thanks for the dono, dude. Thank you for the support. I'm glad you enjoy the videos. I put a lot of love and effort into them. Yeah, that's the thing, Koi4, that's the thing. Sailors are storytellers, so you have no idea what's fact or what's fiction. There could be legends mixed in. But that's kind of the fun of it. So, I really love this one. This is a silly little fun episode for sure. Okay, now we're gonna get into my 2, like, favorite episodes from this whole year, but I will put up a content warning because they are a little emotional and a little deep, and I'm gonna go really ham on this one. Let me get some water. Alright. Next episode we're talking about is gonna be episode 107, The Greatest Lesson. This is something I've talked about quite a bit on my channel. I actually have an old talk show I used to have called Peeve Squeaks that was on my website for a while, and basically I talked about this already once before because it was just a really important childhood memory for me. I just added a little bit of flair with the animation and everything. Added a little bit of storytelling aspects to it. So basically this is like what I've been showing you in Wild Child's Air so far has been like a cycle, day in and out, day in and out. It's like, deal with mom's abuse, deal with school and bullying, deal with being a parent to my brother, deal with, like, you know, all these, like, big, heavy things that a child should not be going through, let alone an autistic child should be going through, and how it is finally weighing on Wild Child. She has a very unbreakable spirit. She has a very much, like, a strong, persevering willpower, but, like, there comes a point where every human being is a human that finally breaks. And that's what this episode is about. So, like, this premise beginning thing, my brother and I would often share the same bed. Even though we had our own separate rooms, my brother was too scared to sleep alone, so for safety reasons, we would sleep together a lot. And I know there's gonna be a lot of people in the comments being like, ah, that's weird, blah blah blah, but like, we were freaking 8 years old and 4 years old. He was 4, and we were in an abusive household, and we were scared a lot. My mother at the time was dating a lot of really, really crappy men, and was bringing in strangers into our house, and let me also remind you, we did not have any privacy. We had our doors sawed in half, and we had locks on the outside of the door, not the inside. So we were not very safe feeling in our own home, so we often had to kind of group together to feel safe enough to even sleep in our house. So oftentimes I would be having sleepovers with my brother and watching over him to make sure nothing happens to him and keeping him as close as possible, because we were in that much danger at a constant rate. So before you judge, think about that. We literally just wanted to sleep, man. We just wanted to be well rested. God forbid. We could not do that normally because we were in a bad situation. So, I often got screamed at in the morning to get up, and I can't believe I have to get you up. And it's just... Sleeping with siblings is normal, but the internet is not normal. So, yeah, we just gotta address it. I'm sorry. I don't think it's weird, but the internet thinks every little thing is weird. And they love twisting it into something it's really not. But yeah, my mother was always very, very upset that she had to wake me up for school. Which, let me remind you, at the time, I didn't have an alarm clock. There was absolutely no way for me to wake myself up. Unless I'm like a magical, like, time mind reader that I can just set an internal clock and I'll be like, oh, I'll get up at approximately 6 a.m. just for mom. There was no way for me to do that. So she was always mad that she had the responsibility of having to get us up for school, which I would take care of my brother, so I don't really know what her problem was. Very taxing on me. Then at school, I'd be trying to write my own books. My teachers were always, like, you know, kind of acutely aware that I was gifted and that I was just really kind of beyond what they were teaching. Because I'd always finish my work really early, and then I'd sit there and draw or do something else to occupy myself, because it's just... Dude, I was so bored. Like, I was so bored in school otherwise. Like, I don't know, like... at least I was trying to stay quiet and, like, do something productive with my time, you know? But my one teacher was such a freaking jerk. She was always like, oh, well, you need to read. Reading is more productive. You need to read. So I was like, okay, what if I write my own book? And then she threw it away. Yeah, this bitch threw Wild Child's first book away right in front of me, in front of the whole class. It was so embarrassing. I was so humiliated. And I had to dig through the trash to get it out, too, at the end of class. And I did that. I grabbed it out of the trash, and I was so mad. Dude, I'm still mad. And I think it's hilarious now, because look at where I'm at. I am an artist. I am a storyteller. I'm successful. This is my job now. She literally threw away a famous artist's work. That's hilarious. Like, the irony of her. I hope she can't sleep at night knowing that, like, wow, that kid that I threw their art away, now their art is beloved by millions. Like, that's gonna be so embarrassing for her. Like, damn, that sucks. But yeah, I was really pissed. Rightfully so. And then, of course, at daycare, I'd get bullied.
WC. Bucket's so sad to say goodbye to probably the most iconic era. I'll miss her so much, but Blackbird looks super cool.
Moment of silence, for what I said at the beginning of the screen. Thank you, Baked Bean. Very sweet. Thank you for the donation, but my god, Wild Child is right here. She's not going anywhere. That's the whole point of the episode. You're not saying goodbye. She will be in a lot of episodes, y'all. She's the inner child. She's very important. She's not going anywhere. It's not like we're never gonna see her again. Please don't think that. Blackbird also, just as a fair warning, I'm not excited. I know everybody says they're excited. I'm not. It's a very, very, very hard time in my life. Like, I don't think everybody really understands that, and I mean, you don't know my life yet, I haven't told you, and that's okay, but like, just so you know, I'm not sharing the same enthusiasm because I know what's gonna come.
Famous not yet very old, yes.
What is going on? I don't know what that means, Hooligan. Thank you for the donation. Famous not yet very old, yes. I don't know. I'm sorry. Brain not functioning, words not functioning. But yes, Wild Child's still here, don't worry. Saying goodbye is not really in her dictionary. But, anyways, I'm gonna go back to my episode, here. This one bully of mine essentially would spin me around on the, you know those little merry-go-round, little metal merry-go-rounds you can spin on as kids? I had one bully, she used to just, I would be spinning on it by myself, like minding my own business, and she would come over and spin it so hard, trapping me on it, and like trying to get me to throw up. Like, she would very much physically harm me a lot. Like, that bully is really bad. She comes up a lot in Blackbird's era, don't worry. Well, we're gonna get into her specifically. But, eventually I've had enough, and I'm at my dad's house, which, by the way, Wild Child's room color at my dad's house was this really ugly deep turquoise. That exact color in the background was the color of my room, because that's what she wanted it to be, and it's really funny and ugly. But I have a full-blown autistic meltdown. I just destroy everything I own. I start throwing everything, all my furniture, and breaking down crying. For a while, I'm just doing that. And then, eventually, my dad shows up. He comes in, and he starts throwing stuff too, and destroying stuff, and screaming, and I'm very confused as a kid, because I'm like, what are you doing? Stop! And he's like, no, we're destroying stuff, and I was like, no, I'm destroying stuff, I'm mad, you're not mad, go away! And he was like, well, his one big rule was that if you make a mess, you clean it up. And I knew that rule very well. And so he was like, well, I helped you make the mess, now I gotta help you clean it up. And that was kind of his way of sitting with me in my anger and in my frustration and in my despair and all of my intense emotions. He showed up and he felt it with me. It was kind of the first time I had felt that kind of empathy from my parents, for sure. And it was the best memory I've ever had, ever. It's the top tier memory I can think of from Wild Child's era is that he didn't berate me for having an autism meltdown. He didn't try to stop me from stimming, because hand stimming, the way that I use it and have used it in the past, it's very much high emotion. It's not just when I'm happy. I would do it when I was really upset too. And unfortunately, I have the kind of autism stimming where I tend to self-harm, unfortunately. Like, I would punch myself and hit myself and harm myself because I was so distressed. And that was kind of his way to prevent that, at least, and to kind of be on my level and be like, yeah, we can destroy stuff. We're not gonna destroy ourselves, but like we can always clean up the mess. And I don't know, to me it was a lesson. I know some people might be confused of like why it's called the greatest lesson, but to me it was a lesson in like regulation and also being seen. It was just a big lesson for Wild Child to be like less self-destructive, and a lesson that it's okay to feel so strongly and be so upset. He never berated me for my strong emotions. This is a prime example of it's okay to be upset. And yeah, so this was a big lesson for me personally. I viewed it as a good lesson in healthier coping mechanisms, and also it's okay to be as emotional as I am. So that was a very, very, very important episode to me. I was so thrilled with how it turned out. And the next episode is, I think, the peak of my cinema. Like, I created a freaking masterpiece with this next one, and I'm very excited to talk about all of the things that are in this episode. Because it's a lot. It's a lot. So, this next episode is 108 Encounter. This is about a near-death experience I had. And how I coped with being existential and coped with the idea of dying as a child. Which is really just deep and philosophical for an 8-year-old, but you know, what we get it at this point that I was parentified and forced to mature a lot faster than I should have. So, lots of details in this episode. I just want to point out, like, animation aspects as well while I'm at it. The puddles move with the characters constantly. They're always reacting to characters, which is just a whole detail I had to hand animate, by the way. And so the story is that I went walking around the forest behind my dad's house during the rain, because I really loved the rain when it was a calm rain. And I unknowingly almost stepped on a rattlesnake. And, oh yeah, that thing's venomous, for sure. And I knew that it was bad, and it was rattling, and I was like, oh no, this is a bad situation, because I was also very far from home, and there was pretty much no way nobody would find me if I had gotten bit. I knew that it was a bad, bad, bad situation. And I got so scared that I kind of froze, and I couldn't move. And it came right up to me. The snake did. And I remember just sitting there in the rain, in silence, kind of waiting to see what would happen, and then it just kind of chilled out and it just sat there. It was just there, and like, also this is a fun detail, you can see the clouds moving in the puddles, like the fast little clouds moving. I like the overhead perspectives a lot, they're really fun. But I basically have a little chat with my snakey. I legit did talk to the snake. I was just like, wow, I'm not invincible. I know I've jumped off of playgrounds and tried to see if life would let me die or not, and it didn't, but like, I'm starting to realize that like death is all around and I don't know how to deal with that. And I'm basically just talking to the snake, talking about how like, I'm not ready to die someday, and it's something that I don't know how to deal with, and I don't have help to deal with. And I kind of incorporated a little bit of different fears in the visuals here, because the snake's kind of the representation of like, oh, I'm afraid to die in this moment. But I have other fears, like the storm, like, I have natural disaster, trauma. There's a lot of things I'm afraid of. that kind of all center around death. Because the only reason why I'm scared of natural disasters is because it could kill me. And so a lot of my fears are kind of coalescing in this one moment. And I'm talking about all the death that's been around me. And I just kind of come to the terms that, like, okay, well, if I'm supposed to die right now, I guess I just have to. If the snake bites me and I die, I have to be okay with that. There's nothing I can do when I'm dead. And it's like this really dark, just horrible conversation I'm having. And then, like, the snake just leaves. And when the snake leaves, I'm like, okay, well, I guess I gotta live now. But I still gotta be okay with the fact that I'm gonna die someday. And this is a really interesting episode because this is a turning point for myself where I kind of realized that was not normal. I remember sitting there being like, I don't think I'm normal. I don't think I'm okay. I think I'm really sad and something's wrong with me. I remember thinking something's wrong with me. And that's when I realized I was depressed. And I was anxious already at age 8. And that's when the trickster shows up and Wildchild can finally actually see him and interact with him and touch him because she's aware now. And when the Eras become aware of the different entities and disorders, that's when they're going to be able to see them and actually do something about them. Because the first step of dealing with mental health is recognizing that you have a problem at all. So, this is the recognition stage. Wildchild's obviously not going to do anything about it, but this is the important part of realizing that there is something wrong and being proactive about it in the future. Because from this point on, she knows that this thing is here and that she's been carrying it for a while. And it's kind of this big discovery episode. And there's going to be many episodes like this where the little guys will come in and they will make their appearance and will be able to interact with the Eras. They'll never speak. I don't want to give them a voice. They're not particularly welcome. I don't really like most of my disorders. I mean, they're disorders. They affect my day-to-day life. They cause a lot of despair for me, so. I did make the sound effects myself, though. I do have, like, a different set of, like, little jingle bells and little things that I'm gonna use for the little guys, so they'll be able to emote kind of uniquely because I'm doing my own little, like, sound design, which is fun. Okay. Next episode is Tree. I'm not gonna talk about it very much. I'm gonna talk about the beginning, and then I'm not gonna talk about some other parts, and y'all are just gonna have to be okay with that, because I don't want to get into it. There are some things that I just say in the episode, and that's enough for me, and I don't need to talk about it further. But this is a very important kind of episode in the sense of, like, it describes one of my really monumental PTSD things that I go through, like, on a, like, weekly basis. I still relive this memory a lot, but big content warning. Natural disasters, some hints at some not fun things. I'm not going to talk about the second half, but the actual episode, if you go watch it, it is age restricted for a reason. It talks about child exploitation and SA, so be warned. I'm only going to talk about the part that has to do with the actual tree falling on our house, which is a event that happened that really deeply traumatized me, for a lot of reasons, because Mother Nature, as I previously had stated in a lot of episodes, was supposed to be my friend. Mother Nature was my safe haven. She was kind and caring and gave me a place to escape to, but slowly but surely I started to realize that she was also a very angry soul, and that she was also quite dangerous. So, my dad's acre had a lot of pine trees on it when we first moved there. They had a lot of tree sap, a lot of pine cones, and they were kind of, like, really awkwardly placed everywhere. So we had to end up tearing a lot of the trees down. Which resulted in a lot of, like, workers and stuff coming to our house, sawing down trees. I got to run across the logs. We had bonfires, with all the wood we got, and, like, we had all this fun around the trees being cut down for the most part. And I always thought that was going to make it safer, because that's when I was taught. I was like, oh, hey, the trees are getting cut down so the yard is a lot safer, so if there's ever, like, you know, hurricanes or tornadoes, the trees don't fall on the house. And I was like, oh, thank God. I was always so scared of trees falling on the house. So this was great for me. I thought this was going to be a good thing, that my fears were going to basically be gone. My anxiety would be quieted. But that wasn't the case. Me and my dad, we sat there from afar watching as these people were cutting down the tree, didn't do it right, and essentially the tree did end up falling on the house. Right on top of the house. I mean, absolutely genius. The tree company did take a giant L. They had to rebuild the house part and everything, but the room that it crushed specifically was my brother's room. And my brother was still inside the house. Don't at me why. Don't ask me why he was in the house, but let's just say he was in the house with somebody he really shouldn't have been left alone with. And so I, like, ran inside. I'm, like, crying. I'm freaking out. And I had to immediately get to my brother. And I basically thought that he died. Like, I was convinced that he got crushed and was dead. And so I was fresh off of that last episode of, like, having to cope with death, and I was not ready for the prospect of like, my brother dying, so I got really scared. I mean, rightfully so. I got really, really scared, and luckily my brother was okay. He was not even near his room, thankfully, but, like, I still, like, felt the terror of losing my brother. Like, I really thought that he was gone. And that was so terrifying to me that I still have nightmares about it to this day. I still have reoccurring nightmares about trees falling on the house. Constantly. To this day. It is that terrifying to me. Because it's associated with losing my brother. It's not so much the act of the tree falling that is so scary. I don't think that's what traumatized me. I think it's the fact that I almost lost my brother. Who was my world. Who was my everything. Yeah. So it just... That's what this episode's primarily about. And I won't be getting into the rest of it. But... that was a very rough experience for me because, I mean, I raised my brother, and I did not want to lose him like that for sure. But, moving on, we're out of the depths. We're going back up and up and up. This is how it works. I hope you understand. Life is an exchange for me. So this next episode's a little silly. We're gonna go a little silly. This is the Lost Empoleon. If you don't know what an Empoleon is, it's a Pokemon. It's a final evolution of Piplup, one of the starters. It's a water type. We had all these action figures, Pokemon action figures, and this is kind of our lore episode for our Pokemon action figures. So basically the story is that the legendary Darkrai has a daughter named Corellia who went missing. And the officer Empoleon is like, don't worry, we're gonna find him. And his wife, Officer Primplup, is like, we are on the case. My daughter, Piplup, Mrs. Corellia, they were friends. And we're getting into all this drama as we're playing in the mud. And then we get called for dinner, and me and my brother are like, oh no! Our drama! Oh well! And then we run off. And then I realized that, oh shoot! We sure did leave our toys outside. Some of them are gone. Oh dear, where did Empoleon go? He's lost. Oh no! And the reason why I would do stuff like this is to protect my brother. Because I was acutely aware that my parents were getting rid of a lot of our stuff, which was causing a lot of anxiety for me and my brother, because we didn't know what was going to be taken from us at any point in time. Nothing was really safe. All of our material possessions were just kind of never really ours. So I had caught sight of my mother with big garbage bags taking our stuff away. She took away some of my prized stuffed animals too. Like, she took away things we actually really cared about because she just was like, oh, you're not a baby anymore, you need to grow up. And it was just a really horrible thing for Wild Child because she knew, okay, I guess I am getting a little older, but also she was very much aware that Rocky, my brother, was still a kid and was very much a baby. He was 4 years old. And that he didn't deserve to have his toys taken away. So I turned everything into a game. I was always like, if I saw Mom bagging up something of my brother's that I knew he was gonna have a hard time losing, I would always be like, hey, we should go and look for him. Let's gather up all the Webkins and let's go on a secret spy mission and try to figure out what happened to the lost, like, toy. And, like, I would always try to turn it into a game for my brother so that way he wouldn't have to be dealing with so much of the impact of the loss. I just tried to protect him in every way I could. And sadly, I feel that's a little bit of a dissociative tactic as well. It was definitely a coping mechanism, a distraction coping mechanism that I had gotten from my parents. Because, as I said a few episodes prior, they love to distract us from reality. And that was how I learned to cope. And you can see me passing that lesson on to my brother. And you can see why generational trauma is so hard to get out of. Because it is that easy to pass on. That's exactly what I did. My parents taught me, and then I taught it to my brother. It was that easy. I didn't think a second thing about it. I said, I'm helping him. I'm helping him. I was not helping. I was distracting. So it's a big thing. I had a very big realization while I was working on this episode. It made me very sad. I had to take some extra time after this episode because I realized something about myself as an adult because of this episode. I always pride myself nowadays on being like a minimalist. I moved across the country with nothing but what I could fit in my car, and I was so proud of that fact because all I really needed was in a couple boxes. And I was always like, you know, that's all you need. You don't really need things to be happy. You need experiences and people and passions, and that was what life was really about. And I had completely given up on materialism altogether. But truly, materialism is kind of part of the human experience, and I had very much dismissed that because of my trauma. Because I was always in a bad hoarding situation, or I was in a place where people would take my things, or nothing was really mine, and I had no privacy, and I owned nothing, and I wasn't a person. So, really, me being a quote-unquote minimalist today is a coping mechanism. It's me being like, well, if I don't have things, then nobody can take them from me. It's kind of like a clever little way to protect myself from possibly getting hurt like I did as a child. So, it's a very interesting, like, revelation to me because now I have a whole new perspective on, like, aspects of my OCD. Because I have OCD that I have a lot of obsessive thoughts that I have too much stuff and then I need to give stuff away, I need to clean up, I need to reorganize, I need to get rid of something. Like, it's a thing in the closet, and then I have to act on it in order to get the obsession to go away. It's often, like, really irrelevant and irrational, and I can't make sense of it. And so it's really interesting to unpack my childhood right here because I can see where it's affecting me to this day. And I think that's really, really what's important about Persona Project, is that I'm not only just talking about my past, but I'm also thinking about, man, that's still here today. That wound is still wide open, and I gotta get to work on fixing it, you know? So, this whole episode was just that, and then the ending is just really funny because while we were preparing to move out, me and my brother, fast forward 15 years later, we're going into Haley's era for a brief moment. Me and my brother are cleaning out his closet, which was essentially like our childhood closet. We just put everything from our childhood in my brother's closet. So we went to clean out his closet. And upon doing that, we started opening up every little thing we had. And lo and behold, there was this little SpongeBob coin purse that we had. And the little coin pouch had something in it. And I was like, ooh, Evan, what do you think is in this? And my brother was like, oh god, I have no idea. I was like, I bet it's a little pet shop. And he's like, I don't know, dude. I hope it's not like food. I hope it's not like old food or something, because we were weird kids. And I was like, oh god, what if it is like an old cupcake? I'm gonna cry. And we opened up the SpongeBob coin pouch. And inside was Corellia. The freaking action figure we lost 15 years ago and never found. She was in there, in pristine condition. And like, the way we screamed must have sounded like a murder happened in their house. We were crying, we were screaming, laughing. We were like, holy shit! Corellia! Oh my god! We ran and we found Darker Eye. And we were like, they're finally reunited 15 years later. It was like the craziest thing that's ever happened. And we were just cracking up over it because it was just so crazy. And it was just so nice. It was just so fun. I'm so glad we found her. And it was just a really fun little ending to that little episode about, in the future, we did find some of our stuff. And like, there's some reassurance to that. I think Wild Child finds a lot of peace in knowing that like, Hawley took care of it. And that's really sweet. I will say this, Wild Child and Hawley are really close. Like, they're like, really, really close. Because Hawley's the first person to finally, like, be her more authentic self out of all my eras, and she kind of reverts back to childhood, so. Oh my god, Goldfish Tamer, how cool! That's so cool! I love that you've been member for 2 months. Heck yeah, dude. A froglet, tadpole with legs. I mean, that's essentially it. Yeah, you're absolutely right. That's perfect. That's a perfect way to describe her. Oh, that's so cool. I'm so happy you guys get, like, your little members messages. Which, yeah, members, by the way, you basically get to do, like, a free super chat every now and then, depending on your milestones. So feel free to use those at any time. It's very awesome. You get like a big highlighted message. But before I start this next episode, I'm gonna take a little brief break and I'll be right back. I'm gonna get some more water. So I suggest that you guys also get some water. Get some dinks, and we'll regroup and we'll finish off the last few episodes, and then I'll open the floor to some Q&A and we'll wrap up year 8, and I will go over some things for the next era. I'll talk about that. But I will be right back. Just hold tight 1 moment. I have returned, and I have great news. In my truck to my kitchen. You'll never guess what I saw. I saw a freaking blackbird outside. It was so cool! We're finally getting the birds back up north. It's starting to warm up enough. The birds are coming back. And I saw a blackbird! It was such a great omen. I'm so happy. Oh my god. It brings me so much joy. Ah, yay! Anyways, hello, I am back. Let's continue, shall we? Let's talk about next episode here. The Fall Festival. Oh, I love this memory! Dude, the Fall Festival was such a freaking awesome, fun time as a kid, because it was just like, the weather was finally getting nice and crisp, and it was just like a big old carnival. It's just, oh, it's such a good thing. I know guys, it really is a sign. I saw it outside, and I was like, that's the first blackbird I've seen this whole season. Like, it's very symbolic. I was like, I'm trying not to cry. I just need to grab some water. Like, why is the universe testing me like this? God. Anyways. So yes, this is the little fall festival. It was essentially like these little pop-up tents and games, like Dunk the Principal was one thing. We also got like little prizes, little Halloween-themed prizes, and we got hay rides. I want to point out my adorable little snake who is driving the tractor, and I also want you to not question how he is driving the tractor with no arms. This is my tractor snake, and I love him. Don't judge him. And so, basically this episode's a little bit of a dual episode, because we talk about the Fall Festival, but we also talk about the first little extracurricular activity that I get enrolled in. And by first, I don't know why I said first. I never get enrolled in another one. This is the only extracurricular activity I get enrolled in. Because it's during school hours, I join chorus. Which is where I develop a lot of my singing and voice acting skills. And my dad was the one that signed me up for it, thank God. And I got to sing, and it was a lot of fun, and I would sing at every fall festival, every one that I could get to. I basically explained that, like, I couldn't go to a lot of, like, after-school events or have many, like, social activities because my parents could never get me there because they were busy working or ignoring us. So I was all excited because chorus was during class, so I got to go and sing while other people had to be in boring old class. And my teacher, Miss Tutu, oh my god, I love her to bits, man. She watched me grow up. She, like, used to work in my preschool and then went to my elementary school the same year that I started elementary school, so she literally watched me grow up from, like, a freaking baby. And, like, she definitely is the one that helped me develop a lot of my skills and passions around, like, my voice, and is the reason why I'm so confident in my voice. And I couldn't thank her enough. She was an incredible influence and a great adult in my life. Literally affects every single era. Like, she definitely had a really big impact on us, and I couldn't go without mentioning her. But then Wild Child's like, hey, talk about the Fall Festival, and essentially I won this cakewalk where, like, you walk around these little circles, and if the music stops at the right time, you win a prize. Yo!
Snake uses telekinesis. Can drive with his mind.
Yes! Goldfish tamer, yes! Thank you for the watermelons. I don't know why there's watermelons. I certainly randomized the fruit, but it kept the one from the last string for no reason, so alright, GG then. But thank you, that's really fun. And I agree, yes, he drives the tractor with his mind. And that's that. But yeah, I won a cakewalk, and I won this little cake. My mom was pissed! She was so mad that I won this cake, and she was like, used my full government name and was like, throw it away in the trash, now! And I was like, okay, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to win, like, damn, I couldn't even win without that woman being mad at me, like, so I was like, okay, and I went over to, like, throw it away, and I spotted Jill, my best friend, and Jill's mom, and Jill's brother, And I was like, oh, Jill, hi! And then we, like, were hanging out, and I was like, I won this cake, and my mom doesn't want it. Do you guys want it? And then Jill's mom was like, what? But you won it. It's your cake. You should enjoy it. Here, let's have some cake. So Jill's mom was the one who was like, you know what? No, kid, you won that fair and square. Here's some cake. And so we ate the cake in secret without my mother knowing. Jill's mom's a real one for hiding that from her. And we were all so freaking hyper after that. Like, I used to love getting sugar rushes. As a kid, I would, like, purposefully drink fruit punch and stuff to get sugar rushes. And I'm goofing off with Wild Child, being like, man, if I had that much energy, I'd be unstoppable. I spent all my energy when I was a kid. And it's just me and Wild Child having fun, and that's just a really nice episode. I love the episodes where I get to end them off with giving her a big hug. And just being happy. Because it just feels like it's not very often. Close up pancakes with my mind. My fucking pancakes. Sorry, I love that. That's a good reference. I love that meme. Okay, on to our next episode, the daycare episode. There is a little bit of bullying in this episode. I will put up the content warning because it is quite graphic. But this is like a really important memory for me because this was my very first art commissions. I essentially opened up art commissions on the playground at daycare. For 25 cents, I was making people bookmarks with my best friend Jill. And we were basically starving children who wanted to get quarters to use the holy vending machine. Because basically at my daycare, you got like a tiny snack. You got like a Dixie cup, which, oh god, wait, do you even know what a Dixie cup is? Tiny cup, tiny paper cup full of, like, I don't know, animal crackers or like chips or something. It was like no food. And then, like, a tiny cup of juice that was mostly just water. And that was it until your parents came and picked you up. And mind you, school got out at, like, 2 o'clock for us. And my parents might be able to pick me up until, like, 7. So it was a long time. And, like, we didn't get any food. And my parents couldn't afford to pack snacks with us. So it's just, like, we were starving to freaking death as children. And the vending machines were our only hope of not starving at daycare. And so, we did that. We opened up our commissions and we were like, oh yeah, people are gonna give us quarters and we were able to get snacks. I hate being poor. And there was this big bully kid who was on the playground, who just was so mean to Jill and I. And basically came over to our little stand and was like, you guys are ripping people off. And then decided to drag us through the mulch. By our backs of our shirts. So, basically we got splinters all up in our backs. And this kid would constantly beat us up and stuff, but like, this is kind of the shitty thing. My daycare just, they didn't care about bullying. And they especially wrote off this particular kid's bullying, because he was also autistic. They labeled his autism as an excuse to be highly aggressive and beat me up. And that we just had to deal with it. And that it was nothing the adults could have done about it. It was just, oh, he's autistic, oh well. And to me, I'm like, wow, there was a lot they could have done, and also, we shouldn't be using autism as an excuse to allow people to bully other people. You shouldn't use anything like that to allow the excuse of bullying. But they sure did, and that's just kind of the sucky thing, that he definitely was really mean to us, and it sucks because, like, I definitely understood him as far as also being an autistic person. But it was just kind of strange to me that they would use that label as the reason why it was okay for him to hurt me, because I knew I wasn't allowed to hurt people and I'm autistic, so I was really confused by that logic and never really resented him for it. Just did not like being bullied, maybe, I don't know. being dragged to the mulch, and I remember, this is kind of important. This is kind of something where you're seeing the effects of my childhood start to come into play in every single episode. It's becoming more and more that all the lessons that Wild Child is learning are becoming core beliefs. In that, we go to tell the teacher, and Wild Child goes, "We got hurt by," and then she stops herself. And you wanna know why? Because I was taught that if I become a tattletale, I will be publicly shamed and humiliated. So instead of telling the truth, I started to lie. Which is dangerous. So I started to lie, and I said we got hurt on the playground. Not telling the teacher who did it, because if I tell anybody about who is hurting me, I'm going to be hurt worse. So, that was a really bad belief that already started to become a very normal thing to Wild Child. And this is a direct quote. This teacher did tell us to just put water on it. I'm not shitting you. That's exactly what this daycare worker told us to do. Go put water on it. It's what I was told. Like, yeah, how am I gonna do that? Like, first of all, the splinters are in my back. Second of all, maybe do something else? Maybe at least first aid? And, like, we were both so mad as kids, because we were, at this point, starting to become really aware of, like, how messed up this was, even as kids. Ugh, so, yeah. Eventually, my mom did catch on that something was going completely wrong here, because basically, like, one day, I think I was, like, getting dressed, and I think she just happened to be, like, in the bathroom, like, helping my brother take a bath or something, and, like, I don't know, some way she saw that I had splinters in my back. I don't exactly remember how. I know she wasn't, like, checking me for bruises and stuff, because, like, she was causing them, so, like, why would she do that? I just know that she happened to catch in some way I was getting dressed, or maybe I was wearing a bathing suit, I have no idea. Some way, somehow, she found out that I had splinters in my back. And, when I told her what it was from, it was the first time in my whole life that woman's wrath was a blessing. That her anger, and that her bitchiness, and that her absurd freaking rage finally played into my well-being for once. She finally came to my defense over something, because it was something she could make into a dramatic display. It was something that she could make a big deal out of and stir up a lot of drama. So she was very excited at the prospect of roasting these poor people that honestly deserved it. And we got out of that daycare. Jill's mom also got involved in this, and they got absolutely destroyed by our moms, and we never had to go back to the poopy daycare ever again. And we got saved for once by my mom's wrath. And that was just a really silly way to end the episode. Because I don't know. I just thought it was funny that, like, she's such an angry person, and for once, it worked out. And I forgot to take my medicine. I need to do that super quickly. Uh-oh, I better do that. Uh-oh. Med check. I usually do it before stream. I just forgot. That's really bad. Oops. Okay, guys, don't forget your meds. Don't forget your meds like me, okay? Jesus. I promise I'm responsible. Okay, moving away from the triggering topics once more, we're gonna go into some happy stuff. Let's talk about my first book. Oh boy. So, the very first book that I ever wrote was a thrilling book. It was a book about cats. Wow, who could have guessed? So, it was a book about these two cats that fell in love, named Arlene and Carlos. Which, like, Wild Child, what kind of names are these? Like, what What child looks at two cats and goes, Arlene and Carlos? Yeah, those are the names I'm gonna pick for my main characters. Like, not like something generic like Spot or like Kitty or like, I don't know, like anything but Arlene and Carlos. It's just so freaking specific. It's like actually hilarious how specific it is. Anyways, I wrote this book about these two cats that fell in love. And so, like, Wild Child comes running up to me and is like, I wrote the book! Let's read it! And I'm like, oh god, which one is it? And I'm like, oh, it's Arlene and Carlos. Which had this orange cat with abs and a firefighter hat. And then it also had, like a brown tabby cat in a blue dress. And that was the two characters. And they fell in love, and hold on, I gotta draw this, hold on. The way I would draw people kissing as a child was really funny. I would draw, oh god, I would draw two circles like this, and then their lips would be coming off of their faces like an Animal Crossing octopus character. And this is how I would draw people kissing, and it's so funny and ugly and gross. And it's so funny, so I tried to include that in here, how they're like weird, like extended like schnozzes. So it's just, I tried to incorporate the Wild Childness like in it, like in the little drawings, and like they have like all these kids, like these two cats have like 6 children, and I'm like, oh my god. I think I was trying to keep it, like, accurate to cats, I guess. Like, they have, like, a litter. So, yeah, I guess good on Wild Child for that. Oh, yeah, Silver! Nice, dude! If it makes you feel better, I named my cat OCs Jake, Mark, Alyssa, and other basic name. I can't remember, I was freaking 12! Silver. Mark goes crazy for an OC. Alyssa, that is so specific. I also had an OC named Jake, though, so, like, that one, I'm like, okay, Jake is fine. But, like, Mark and Alyssa, that goes crazy. That's awesome. Oh my god. But yeah, like, I guess Arlene was a stay-at-home mom. This is, like, your nuclear family stuff that was, like, drilled into my head as a kid, you know, like, the American dream, which is, you know, in the early 2000s, get married, have children, build a house, and get a career, I guess. So, Carlos was a firefighter, but their house caught on fire, and I wish I still had this book. I don't. It's gone forever, unfortunately. But I remember the drawings were just so horrifying. Like, it was like children sticking out of the windows crying, like little kittens are like burning inside of this house, and like the mom's outside crying, and like Wild Child's like a little too excited about this, and it's just like, they're burning, meow, they're burning, and I'm like, what the hell? Like, cause like, oh my god, what is wrong? Why are children so violent? Why are children so violent, Chad? I was like, okay, Wild Child, but you know what? Carlos was a firefighter. So, you know, that's okay, because we put out the fire. And then I remembered, too, that, like, something that I just, like, said a lot as a kid. Like, whenever, like, two, like, married people had a problem, I would be like, oh no, are they gonna get a divorce? Because my parents got divorced. So Wild Child's just like, yeah, well,
if Carlos didn't save Arlene, then, like, she would have to divorce him.
and I'm like, oh my god, that is so dramatic. What do you mean? It's just really fun interaction with her, and I'm like, dude, what is your problem? And then, the other eras actually come to Wild Child's defense, because Hawley's like, hey, Swapping Origins is a cat story, and, like, it wouldn't exist without Arlene and Carlos. And then Robin's like, yeah, and then without Swapping Origins, Brightside wouldn't be so cool either, so take that. And then I'm like, but guys, it's a story about burning children alive.
Remember that pocket game Migo? I had a golden retriever on it named Elizabeth.
Oh my god, I do remember those little pocket pets. The little virtual pet games. Oh my god, Elizabeth. Oh my god, that's such a freaking random name. That's so good, Sachikoko. Thank you for the donut. That's very awesome. But yeah, apparently the first book I ever wrote was about burning children alive. So, if that doesn't give you any idea of what my stories are like nowadays, I mean, yeah, it's basically what my stories are still about. I mean, it's about the same level. I mean, not much really changed there. But yeah, this is a really fun episode. It's one of my favorite ones of the whole freaking year because it's just so much fun. The other eras got to be in it and that was so fun too. I love when they get to pop up. It's just very nice, very fun. Couple more to go. Couple more episodes to go. Ugh. Makes me sad. But I'm also glad that it's finished. It's very bittersweet. Alright, so the next episode is The Planet Problem, which was the title of the play that I was in 3rd grade, The Planet Problem, TM. And it was basically, we would sing about the planets. It was just like it was about space. The premise of it was honestly really messed up and I didn't even realize it until I was like writing about it and then I was like, what the hell? So the idea is that the sun goes on vacation and all the planets start dying, which is horrifying. And then they all have to leave the Milky Way to go and try to figure out where the sun went on vacation because hardy har har, the sun was burned out. Oh, it's so funny. Har har har. So, this stupid freaking everybody has to go, and we have to sing about the planets and stuff. Freaking Snailey's here, and she's like the star. She's Proxima, and she got like a whole like singing number, and I was so mad about this because Snailey sucks, first of all. Second of all, she was like overly dramatic with her singing. I'm about to out myself as like this type of kid. Did anybody else grow up watching those Littlest Pet Shop talent show YouTube videos? And if you know what I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about. If you don't, I sound insane, that's okay. I know some of you have watched these Littlest Pet Shop talent shows, and there's always this singing portion of these Littlest Pet Shop talent show videos where, like, there's, like, some girl who, like, walks in, they're like, oh, that's the nobody. Oh, we don't like her. It's that girl. And then she, like, whips out, like, the best singing voice, and she's like, oh, and it's like, everybody's like, oh my god, we didn't know you were such a good singer. You win the talent show. Like Snailey being Proxima in this play is giving Littlest Pet Shop talent show, like, shy girl energy. Which makes me sound insane, but I promise it's a real thing. Those videos probably gone off the internet and I sound insane now, but I promise you, they existed. I'm freaking cracking up, man. Dolly Store Lobelia, yeah, she did not deserve to be the star. I was so mad that she got that. Here's a fun cameo. I actually put, Florida Man from Brightside, but as a kid, as one of the little rappers. I could actually sing these entire songs, like, I know them by heart. It's actually really funny. Gotcha singing battles! Yes, Silver, you're right. That's the same brand, same brand. But yeah, like, this, like, they did this whole rap about, like, about Sirius being, like, he's like, I'm not serious, I'm serious. I'm, like, the brightest star in the galaxy, yo! And they're, like, they'd sing a song about being on the sunny side up. They were like, well, how did it go? It's like, when you're feeling down and you feel left out, you try to act sunny side up. And then it's like, they sing, like, this whole rap about being happy, question mark? And I don't know, man. This play was a fever dream a little. And then we ran around as stars and moons and stuff, and I was the 8th moon. I was Neptune. I was very happy because my favorite number in Blackbird's era is 8, and at this point it was also Wild Child's favorite number because she was 8 years old. Wow. So 8 was like a big lucky number for me, and then Neptune was my favorite anyways, happened to be the 8th planet too, so it's just like kind of an all-around good luck roll for me. It was a very minimal roll. I had one line. You wanna know what my line was?
I'm totally spaced out!
That was my line. I'm totally spaced out. That was it. All of the moons had to spin onto the stage and go, whoa! And then we'd be like, where's our planets? I don't know. And then I went, I'm totally spaced out! And then the moons spun away, and that was all we got. We went, where the hell are the planets? And then we just stayed there. We didn't even go look for them. Oh my god, it was so funny. So yeah, that was my freaking play. It was very dark at some points, but we had like these flashlights that we'd shine on like stars, and like it was fun. It was a fun experience, and I'm just like looking back, I'm like, man, this play was messed up. Who wrote this? Like Earth was singing about her people freezing to death, and it was just like dark. And then Wild Child's like, we want tragedy and destruction! And then we're like, okay, that's enough of that, Wild Child, thank you. So, there was the planet problem. And all of its silliness. Who wrote this? I don't know. I want to speak to them, though. It was my childhood, but also people who write children's plays, like, we really need to check on them more. I think. I think we just need to we need to do wellness checks on the playwrights of children. Like, yeah. The unhinged frog child. Yeah. I mean, y'all come to be very familiar with this, and I hope it's expected and cherished. Okay. The episodes are taking longer to load because I packed them full of too much detail. Here we go. Next up on the chopping block we have tangerines, which I will put up a content warning. By the goddamn way, YouTube demonetized this video. And I just want to say, YouTube, you're so dumb for that and annoying for that. I have other videos that go into way more detail about the topics that are in this video. This video doesn't even barely talk about anything. Like, it really doesn't. Like, it's very gentle and calm and tame in comparison to some of my other episodes, but this one got demonetized. So once again, I'd like to reiterate that my lovely YouTube will demonetize this episode, but not others. So yeah, I'm very mad about that. Oh no. Oh, it won't play your message because it says... It won't for now. It won't play your message because it has a...
He has a bad word!
I'll read it. Thank you, Froggy, for the dono once again. Froggy says, fun fact, the scientific pronunciation of Uranus is in fact Uranus, at least according to the planetarium show I went to a while ago. People just like to say Uranus for the sake of not saying Uranus, but like, they just need to stop looking at it that way. It's a freaking planet. I just called it Uranus because that's what we used to call it when I was a kid, and that's all I knew, and I didn't look at it in a butt way. It doesn't matter. Also, anus isn't even a bad word. I think it's just a technical scientific word too, so like, does it really matter? Like, come on guys, let's grow up a little bit. Also, same Sachikoko, I sure wish I had a better platform, because my god, this episode... I don't know. I just got really upset. It kind of went viral overnight, and then they kind of took away all of any kind of funds I could have made because it went viral, it felt. Like, there was no really true reason to demonetize this video in particular, other than it got really popular really quickly, and they just didn't want to pay me, essentially, is what I'm hearing. So, yeah, I'm not too happy with YouTube, but I digress. This episode is about my great-grandmother. We called her Grandma. Grandma redacted, because she had the family last name. It was Grandma last name. Like, so it was like, she carried on the family name. We called her by the last name, like, kind of matriarch kind of thing. She is this very angry old Irish lady, who scared the shit out of me as a child. I literally have one memory with her because I tried to avoid her at all costs because she was very scary. Very intimidating person. But one day I had picked tangerines from the backyard of my grandparents' house because we had fruit trees in our yard. And I was not doing a good job because I had like barely any life skills, because the life skills that I had were only for pure survival, and I just didn't really have a lot of help with normal things, so I had a really hard time like peeling fruit, you know. There's some really random parts of my childhood that I kind of struggled with more than others, because yeah, like there's just skills I lacked because I didn't have adults teaching me like normal human things. So like I struggled a lot, and I made a mess, and she came over to yell at me. But when she came over to yell at me, I had this reaction where I dropped what I was holding to put my hands out because I thought she was gonna hurt me. And this made her very sad. Oh, welcome, Donna Dragon. Welcome to the club. You're a peevlet. Very cool. That's awesome. Slay. Man, you guys are, like, really rallying up today. I really appreciate all the support. Oh, I feel so loved. Oh my god. I hope you enjoy your time here. We have lots of fun things coming up here. But yes, my grandma was quite saddened by the fact that all she did was yell at me and I had such an extreme reaction. And I think it's a really important episode because I think she kind of realized the generational trauma, and she saw it, and she saw how it had trickled down, and she could see the effects of her authoritarian kind of parenting that she did to her child, that her child did to her child, and that child, their child did to the next child. And I think that she could see that this was an effect that she had caused, essentially. Oh, whose parent was she? Good question, Fizzy. She was my nanny's mom. So, dad's side, great-grandma. My dad's grandma. Oh, but yeah, I think she realized that this was kind of a direct effect, and I definitely always thought people were gonna hurt me when they yelled at me, but she didn't. She picked up the tangerines and she peeled them, kind of wordlessly, going back to her little rocking chair, and then we just took turns, like, tossing them into each other's mouths, and she was telling me stories about her childhood, and it was really awesome. I've never bonded with her in this way, so it was like a really special thing. I could tell that this was a special moment because she could see how upset I was, that I had this, like, knee-jerk reaction, that I was really traumatized, and I think it broke her heart because I was just a baby. So I think she just decided to tell me about her childhood, and, like, I feel like she had that guilt of, like, the generational trauma. She could see it. But yeah, she told me about, like, how she used to ride in horse and buggy, and, like, she used to, like, sew her own clothes. She's actually the person who taught me how to sew. My grandma did. I didn't include it as a memory, mostly because it just wasn't all that, I feel, very pivotal. But I do want to mention the fact that my grandma, my great-grandma, was the one who taught me how to sew. And I learned how to sew, like, I want to say, like, the same year, 8 years old, I learned how to sew because of her. Sew by hand, anyways. So, I appreciate her for that, because she did pass on this really amazing skill to me, and I will never forget it. And it felt very cool to have, like, met my great-grandma and also learn that skill from her. Like, that's very cool. Not many people get to experience that, so I felt really lucky. And I do really appreciate that memory. But the end of this episode's really silly because Grandma tells me that she had to walk uphill and 10 miles through the snow just to get to school every single day. And if you don't understand what the joke is here, the joke is that that is a lie and that is a hyperbole. That is a fake story that lots of old adults like to tell us children because we'll believe it. And then we'll go, really? And they'll laugh and they'll be like, no, not really. We're just joking with you. Only my grandma didn't tell me she was joking with me and she just made me believe that that was real. And she was playing with me and my little autistic ass. So Wild Child's like confused, but I'm just like, yep, that was lost to the tism. I definitely believed that my whole life. Thanks, Grandma. She was kind of a cheeky little prankster for that. So, that kind of wraps up that episode. And I don't know why that one got demonetized. I couldn't fucking tell you. I didn't even barely talk about anything. I was just like, hey, I had a bad reaction, and then somebody comforted me. And then YouTube was like, oh no! Oh no! Anyways, we're gonna leave all the other ones about your abuse up and make money off of your trauma anyways. Okay, YouTube. Yeah. Anyways, let's talk about almost the last episode. Not the last episode yet. Ohio. This is a fever dream episode. This is a funny one. So, everybody knows Ohio's not real. I say, that's a complete joke. It's a complete joke. Exactly! Fizzy snow in Florida, exactly! I never caught on to that. I was just like,
oh, that must have been when she lived in Ireland or something, like...
Because she was an immigrant. So it's just like,
oh, she must have just, like... oh, it just must have been when she was in another country where it snowed or something.
Like, I had logic. Like, I really thought, like, I was eating with that, but no. So, Ohio. I went to a wedding in the middle of Ohio, in a big mansion in the middle of a cornfield. Yes, apparently this was real. Because this was the first time I ever went on an airplane, but as you know, I'm terrified of airplanes because of 9/11. And so my dad, the champion that he was, freaking salute emoji dad, 07 dad, goddamn legend for this, was like, hey, my child is utterly terrified of airplanes and is gonna freak out and have an autistic meltdown this entire flight unless we, help her feel more comfortable. To which the lovely, like, staff at this, like, particular airplane were like, yeah, we got you. So the pilot was like, hi, I'm the pilot. This is my pilot seat. Do you want to sit in it? And I was like, yeah! So I sat in it and I was like, oh, this is so cool. And he was like, I'm gonna fly the airplane. Do you trust me? And I was like, yeah, I trust you, random Mothman. And then he was like, okay, well now you're a certified first-time flyer. So here's your little pin. Now, this means that you're getting your wings. So you have to be very brave. And I was like, okay, I will be very brave, Mr. Mothman. And I sit in the chair and then they're doing the whole safety thing where they're like, you have flotation devices under your seat, blah, blah, blah. But then at the very end, they're like, we'd like to welcome a new flyer onto the plane. Little wild child, welcome. We hope you enjoy your very first flight ever. And I was like, and they were like, she's also our co-pilot for today. And I was like, I'm the co-pilot? So, like, they really, 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 like, made this a special thing for me. And I was just, like, giddy the entire time. I forgot we were even flying. I didn't even care. I was just like, there's coloring books and little apple juice cups, and I am thriving. I was having a great time. This plane ride was the best ever, and it was all my dad's fault that it was even remotely a positive experience. So thank you, Dad. I would have been terrified of flying and probably would have never traveled my entire life if it wasn't for him kind of helping me overcome that trauma. Like, he was real for that, man. Like, this was great. This was very healing, and I'm very happy it happened. But we saw snow for the first time, me and my brother. It wasn't anything extraordinary. It wasn't really a lot of snow. It, like, melted really quickly. So it was, It wasn't like, it wasn't very exciting because we couldn't really play in it or anything. It was just like enough to like step in and be like, whoa, like you couldn't even make snowballs or anything fun. So we went to this wedding, and it was just like all these relatives we didn't know, people we didn't know, still couldn't tell you who they are, but who cares about the wedding aspect, because it was basically, a big giant playground for me and my brother. It was a giant mansion. It was this big brown wooden mansion in this cornfield. They had this big farm. They had a barn full of peacocks, and it was awesome. We were going around collecting peacock feathers, and like, there was like dried corn outside that we were like feeding the peacocks, and we were like, "Whoa, yeah, this is so fun." We were running through the corn stalks, and my poor dad, had to like drag us out of the barn and was like, "No, you guys, come on, you gotta go to the wedding. We flew all the way out here for the wedding, not to play in the barn." And I was like, "But the barn!" So I got dragged back to this party where I remember vividly, I was left alone. I was on no adult supervision. I don't know where my brother was. Hopefully with my dad. I don't know. Somebody. Maybe my grandparents. But like, I was completely alone and lost. And I was like, oh god, where am I? I'm so confused. And it was freaking freezing. I remember wearing a dress. Like, a dress with no sleeves. I was freaking freezing, dude. It was snowing! Like, I don't know why they thought that was a good idea. And I remember being so uncomfortable, and then, like, there was all these Christmas lights everywhere, and there was obviously loud music inside, and, like, so many people. There was, like, a disco ball and everything. Like, I remember this so vividly. And then there was a cat. I don't remember the name of the cat, unfortunately. I was too overstimmed to even think about anything else, because, yeah, this was the first time I'd ever realized that I was overstimmed, because I was like, whoa, why is everything so fuzzy, and why does nothing make sense, and where am I, and I just, and then I hid under a dining room chair with the cat for like hours, waiting for it to be over. And that was kind of the Ohio wedding experience. Yeah, it was very overstimulating. So it was interesting because I always think about this memory and I'm like, man, that was such a fever dream. What was up with that? And then I was like, oh, I was overstimulated, and I was actually realizing that. And wow, like, that's a good thing to finally realize that that's a thing, because I was always gaslit by my parents to be like, you're fine, stop being dramatic, you know, but at that point I had actually done a good job of removing myself from all of the stimulation and taking a break from the whole social thing, so I don't know, I thought that was it's a pretty silly, goofy little episode, but it has some important undertones, I feel. Alright, second to last episode. I know you guys are really eager to talk about this. I'm gonna take a big gulp of water so I can tell you everything. Okay. 117, let's talk about Jim, my stepdad. We've been waiting a long time to meet him. And originally this was gonna be a Blackbird episode, but I'm gonna level with you. I couldn't cope with the fact that if I waited to introduce Jim in Blackbird's era, then he would have only have known us for one era. It kind of broke me when I realized, I was like, wait, Jim never met Parker. Jim never met Wildchild? And I was like, there's no way. No, Jim had to have met Wildchild. There's no way. And I felt the weight of that loss really heavily. And I was like, you know what? No. I do remember this being at the very start of 4th grade. And so I was like, you know what? This episode of Persona is Wildchild starting 4th grade. And Blackbird will take over and finish 4th grade. So that way there's at least a way that Jim could have met Wildchild, because I can't bear the fact to cope with the idea that I only knew this guy for 5 years. Like, that just, 5 year, I was just so robbed. 5 years, that's all I have. Like, man, that's nothing. So, that's why I decided to make this episode now rather than later, because I couldn't cope with it. It was just too sad. So, this is pretty much exactly how this happened. Me and my brother were out in the front yard playing with our Pokemon at my mom's house, and she strolls up with some guy. And we're mad, because we're like, oh great, it's another stupid boyfriend, which is just very Blackbird. Like, the script was originally Blackbird, so I thought it was funny, because it's kind of like a tiny bit of a transition, I guess. Like, into Blackbird from Wild Child, because you can see the sassiness developing throughout this whole year, but the sass is off the charts in this episode. And so we're all mad because we don't like any of these men that she brings over. But Jim's here, and the very first thing I ever did to him is I walked up to him and I was like, you smell good. Like, you're different from all the other guys, because you smell good. Everybody else Mom brings around stinks and is a loser, and you actually smell good. And he laughed so hard at that. He thought that was funny. And basically, this is the really fun detail that I didn't put in the episode that I get to tell you about now. So, the plan was, every single time my mom brought around some stupid guy that she was dating, she would try to get us kids to like them. And so she would try to, like, barter. So she would try to, like, buy our affection in that. So, like, example, some of her boyfriends would buy us gifts, or would take us out to eat, or would do something to kind of, like, I don't know, like, convince us kids to, like them for some reason.
Have you played Amori?
Age of the Dragon? No, I have not. Thank you for another dono. Damn, dude. I have not played it. It's a little too spooky for me. It has some spooky undertones. I don't like playing any kind of horror aspect games, unfortunately. But I've heard it's great, and it has good soundtrack. I like soundtracks a lot, so I listen to soundtracks of games I can't play, just to enjoy them. Where did your mom have the time to go on all these dates? I don't know. I mean, she wasn't raising us, so she had plenty of time, honestly. She also wasn't working at that point. She was just burning through all of our life savings because she refused to work, but we'll get into that later. Anyways. So yeah, basically, a lot of these men she brought into my life were it was like a very much a rinse and repeat thing, is that she would love bomb them to death and would be like, oh my god, they're the best person ever, they're the love of my life, I love them so much, blah 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 blah, you need to like them, you need to like them, you need to love them, they're gonna be part of this family, blah blah blah. Look how nice he is, oh, he bought us pizza, that's so sweet, oh my god, look, he got you a Webkins, isn't that so nice? And then she'd kick him to the curb and be like, he was the worst ever, oh my god, I hate him so much, blah 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 blah, trash talk, and then start the cycle over and over and over and over and over again. So you can only imagine how this would have gone differently if they waltzed up and said, hey, so Jim's gonna get you ice cream. I'd be like, yeah, and then he's gonna be gone tomorrow. Sure, whatever, lady. Yeah, this changed because Jim was different in all aspects, and he knew that was the plan. He knew that we were gonna go get ice cream. Because that's what my mom wanted, was to show that Jim's so cool. And, oh, he's gonna get us ice cream, he's so awesome, you know, and like, he was like, yeah, I mean, that'd be nice, we could go out and like, get ice cream with the kids, but he took it a step further, and he was being really cheeky about it. Donna, it's not bipolar. In bipolar, we shouldn't use a derogatory term as a negative descriptor. It is a real mental disorder. My mom is a narcissist. She has NPD. She has narcissistic personality disorder. It can be quite similar to bipolar, but I don't like using it in a negative connotation. Sometimes I do catch myself calling her a narc in a derogatory kind of way, because I've been really hurt by many, many narcissists in my life. It's something I'm trying to unlearn and do better with myself, so just be more cautious in the future. That's the best you can do. I'm still learning myself. It's hard for me to not be resentful towards, like, people who are narcissists, because I've been hurt by so many, but I have to remember I've been hurt by very specific people, not the disorder itself. So, just keep that in mind and try to be better about it, if you can. If not, just don't say anything at all. Anyways, so Jim was like, okay, I know what I'm going to do. So he very cheekily looks at my mom and goes, how about this? Oh, she said that we have to do chores first. Oh yeah, if you do all your chores, you'll get ice cream. And meanwhile, my mom is like, oh, don't make them do that. No, we're just gonna take them for ice cream. Like, no, don't make them do chores. And then Jim was like, yeah, but then you get all your chores done. So I'm gonna help you, my partner, and I'm gonna help the kids earn a reward. And also that way I'm not taking them out for ice cream to buy their love. I'm taking them out for ice cream as a reward. And he kind of changed the narrative of that, and I think that this is really, really, really important. It's just, yeah, like, I really appreciate that he did this. Also, welcome, Mari! Welcome to Tadpole! Welcome, welcome. Being a little frog. Don't we all want to be a little tadpole? So yes, Jim convinced us to go do our chores, which we rushed to do. My brother's like tearing out the weeds in the yard, which is like really funny because that was not one of our chores, by the way. Weeding the garden was not one of our chores at all. But since we were already outside, I was like, hurry, do this, do that, do this, do that. Like, we were like running around going crazy. And I love this animation because Wild Child goes like, pew, and like runs off. Another fun detail, Jim was very heavily Italian. I believe his grandparents were immigrants too, which is crazy. So they are very strong Italian vibes in this family. He would often call us bambinos. Bambino is the Italian word for, like, baby. Like, he'd be like, oh no, bambino, don't do that. So if you hear Jim often saying bambino, that's because that's what he called us endearingly. Basically, he helped us with our chores, which is a real one too. Like, he not only did he tell us to do it, but he joined us in our chores. And I love this animation too. She goes, "Arr!" She like, "Arr!" Meanwhile, my mom's in the background, just as I always remember her. This is what I'm saying. Kids remember everything, and the only thing I ever remember about her is complaining. The only thing I ever remember about her is being sour. All the time. And, like, she always was so insecure about the truth. Like, the truth was she never did anything with us. So that's why we got so excited about going to, like, oh, we're getting rewarded for chores? We never get rewarded for chores! This is the best thing ever! Yay! So, like, we're all going, like, insane. And she's like, oh my god, my kids act like I never do anything with them. Oh, they always act like I never reward them for chores, blah blah blah. And like, she gets all defensive about it because she knows. She knows that that's true. And that we're not just overreacting for no reason. So, Wild Child's like, okay, I'm all done. Let's go. It definitely wasn't done. I half-assed that shit. You know, I just threw everything in the closet and, like, ran as fast as I could because we had to go get ice cream right now. So, we go get our McDonald's ice cream. And this is another really good moment. This is the first man who ever recognized that we have, like, boundaries and feelings that my mother had ever brought around. He sat with us around at a table, and he asked if it was okay if he dated our mom. Like, Fizzy, you want to know what Jim saw in my mom? She is a drop-dead gorgeous, big-chested, blue-eyed, very charismatic, very, like, I don't even know how to describe it, showy person. She definitely has, like, I don't do a very good job of describing my mom outside of her being a very angry, miserable person, but to everyone else who doesn't see her, like, I guess, true self like we did, to everyone else, she's the most fun person. She is fun. She's excitable. She's a Gemini. She's, you know, she's very, like, much a people person. Like, she's very social. She's very, like, she had a lot of good qualities in the sense that she was a very fun adult for other adults to be around. Because she was, like, crazy. Like, she loved to party, and she loved loud music, and she was just, like, kind of, like, I don't know, different in that way. So that's probably what he saw in her, is the energy. And just, she was also, like, really gorgeous, and, like, she was, like, I don't know, like, very, very, yeah, pretty privileged. Good. Boom. Said easier, the easiest way you could have said that. Thank you, Earl Bayleaf. Yeah, like, he did ask, though. He said, is it okay if I date your mom? I had never been asked that question before. I had, like, never even known that was an option, that people could ask if it was okay. That, like, that it was even a choice for me. That, like, as us kids, we could say, oh, no, can you actually not, I'm actually pretty uncomfortable. Like, the fact that we had a boundary at all was so good for me as a kid, because everyone else just showed up in my life against my will, and they were bad people. But I could tell that this one was going to be a good person, because he actually cared about our feelings, because he realized, hey, this is your mom. You were here first. You have all of her love and attention, obviously, but is it okay if I join in? And that was just really sweet. And I gave him a hard time over it, and it makes me sad now. Like, it makes me abysmally sad that I was like,
I don't know. You gotta get me more ice cream. I don't trust you. You're just some guy.
Like, I gave him such a hard time, and he thought it was funny as hell, and, like, I'm glad he took it with humor. Because I definitely was just kind of reacting from my trauma of all the other boyfriends my mom dragged in that were just in and out. So, I had no idea he would become my stepdad at that point. But yeah, my mom went through all these people, very much cycling through people. Almost like you know, narcissism and borderline personality disorder are looped together quite often. They're same cluster category, but, like, my brother actually develops borderline personality disorder, and it's not hard to see why, because this was our example. It was very much like the narcissistic tendency of love bombing people. They find out too much about your true self, and then you shut down, you get rid of them. So I watched this behavior pattern in my mother, and I developed a very rigid mistrust in basically everyone because of it. I never wanted to get attached to anybody because, like, I knew that they were going to be thrown to the curb, and so I was really scared to get attached to Jim, honestly. I had no idea he was going to become my stepdad. I had no idea he was going to move in with us. I had no idea how far this was actually going to go, so I had my walls up. Which is a very Blackbird thing to do, and you will see that very much so. Very, very much so. And so, this was an important detail. I wanted to include this shot. Very, very, very adamant about this shot being included. Because in the divorce episode, there is a panel where Wild Child's sitting at the dinner table with mom and brother, and there's an empty chair where my dad is supposed to be. And I realize it's never going to be the same again. But now, we're at the dinner table, and all the chairs are filled. And it's a nice reminder that it might not be the same again, but it can still be good. Because the person who filled the chair next was wonderful. And yes, I had to include on the table the lavender candles. Jim was very much like a interior decorator, kind of lavish, kind of elegant, ritzy kind of lifestyle kind of guy. He always loved his lavender everything. And, like, he's so bisexual for that, it's really funny. Oh, but yeah, he loved his smelly things. So like every time he cooked us the dinner here is his chicken Alfredo. I loved his chicken Alfredo. My favorite meal he ever made, besides from his Zuppa Toscana. Or his gnocchi. Oh, gnocchi's so good too. Jim was just a chef, honestly, yeah. And so he whoopee cushioned me a lot. He loved pulling very stupid pranks. Um, and like I always thought he got me back for being like kind of a jerk to him in the beginning because we grew to love each other very quickly. It was very quickly that I just ended up adoring this guy. And like he loved the practical jokes, he loved the pranks. He's just such a trickster and I loved him for that. Like he just always had fun. Despite him being so sick all the time. He had cystic fibrosis, so he was a very sick individual. Towards the end, he definitely was in dialysis, like, a lot, and was just suffering a whole lot, but that did not stop him from making other people smile, and, like, I just aspire to be like him so much because of that. So, now with that done, I get to talk about the last episode. At long last, I will talk about 118 forever. We'll see if I can do it without crying. Okay. Oh, man. It's loading. It's a long episode. It's like 2 minutes long. It's double what I usually make. But I have a lot to say about this episode, obviously. I had a really hard time figuring out how I was gonna end this era because to me it didn't feel like it had like a proper ending. It just like to me it's my childhood and to me it just feels like if you look back at your own childhood, you don't have like an exact like day or an event or like specific thing that you're like, oh, and that's the day my childhood ended. Like, no one says that. So it's hard. Like, I had to figure out like when my childhood ended. And I came to this really horrible realization. Yeah, I'm gonna put up the content warning. I never had a childhood. I didn't have the normal childhood that everyone else got. I spent the entirety of Wild Child's era mourning what I should have had. Mourning what I so desperately wanted. Knowing that I never got it and knowing that I never can now. And the reason why I couldn't find a way to find a closing chapter to my childhood was because I never really got one. There wasn't really anything to close. I spent my whole childhood being hurt and exploited. And I was a little parent. I was a little mature, little gifted kid. Wasn't allowed to be autistic. Wasn't allowed to just be a kid. I had some good times, obviously. I shared them. But when I look back, it is hard to see them through all of the muck that is the bad. But I had to, like, stop and think about, like, okay, how would Wild Child feel? And I realized that she would be utterly terrified of the prospect of such a massive change. Because, yeah, she is autistic. Autistic people, for the most part, don't cope with change very well. I don't like change. Change is one of the scariest things in the whole wide world. To Wild Child, any minor change would just make her so upset. She'd be crying. Like, she gets very, very, very distraught about change. And I was like, well, this is a big change for her, and I think she would be very scared. So my inner child is like, no, it's not over, no, it's not over, we didn't even get anything, we didn't even get any good, we didn't even have fun, like, no, it can't be over, it's not over, it's not over. It's just in this permanent state of denial, of crying and being upset. So, like, that's kind of what happens in the beginning, is that she's crying and coming to me, and she's so upset, and she does not want to grow up. because she's not ready yet. She hasn't even had a chance to be a kid. And, like, she knows that. She's very aware. Like, I am one of the most self-aware people. Like, all my therapists are terrified of me because of how self-aware I am. I am so introspective. They are like, whoa. Like, you already know what's going on with you. I don't even know why I'm here. Like, so... It's just... I don't know. To me, she was scared. And some people were confused why she brought up dying. Because change was so scary, it did feel like dying to me as a kid. Like, dying was a big change, like, obviously, and it's something that she's really terrified about, and is existential about, you know, if this is the end of her era, is that the end of her life? Is she dying? Like, is this the end? Is this a big enough change? Like, is everything gonna change forever? So, like, this is just utterly terrifying to my inner child. Because it's been all fun and games up until this point. She could talk, and she could play, and she could do all this stuff, and now it's over forever, and I didn't even get to do it right. And she's just kind of having this breakdown. I kind of just had to let her. Because during that recording, I was bawling. People are like, wow, you deserve to be on Broadway because of that performance. And I'm like, honey, that was not a performance. I was bawling. Like, that was me genuinely channeling my deepest feelings. That was agony. That was real, raw emotion. I just let it pour out, and I put it on a canvas. And it wasn't a performance. It was very authentic, and I was devastated recording this. It's actually very hard to do it because I had to do it in a voice that wasn't my natural voice. So a lot of the times you can actually hear me faltering and going back to my regular voice sometimes because I couldn't maintain wild child while sobbing my eyes out. I did a damn good job, but yeah, it's very authentic. And it's truly how I feel. Because I don't know, I didn't get the childhood I deserved, and I know that, and I know I've been wronged. And this is the part where I had to get justice. And I don't know if everyone's gonna agree with me, but I don't really see a reason why my inner child has to grow up. Why does she have to grow up? Why does anyone's inner child have to grow up? Why? It's not benefiting me. It's actually the worst thing I can think to do to myself is to kill her. I'm not doing that. I thought about it. I thought about being like, well, what if she just fades away like a memory? But I'm like, no, she comes out all the time. I want to play in the mud still. I want to run around on the playground still. I want to play with my friends. Like, I don't know. She's not gone. So I was like, I had to just reassure her that. I'm like, you are not going anywhere. You're actually the only one that gets to be here forever. You're like the most important one. And this is a really important detail I want to tell you guys. The term special was something I sought to reclaim. My whole life, I was told by my family that I was special. Oh, you're so special. You're so special. You're such a special kid. And it was their way of avoiding actually calling me what I am, which is autistic. I'm autistic. And they didn't like the word autistic, so they would say special instead. Oh, you're just special. It's just your special little superpowers, you know, all of that horrible shit you hear growing up if you're autistic. You know what I'm talking about. But it sucks because I can't actually call myself special in any way if I actually am. Because now I only foresee that word special as like a placeholder for autistic. And so I wanted to tell Wild Child she's actually special. Legitimately special. Not just hiding it, using the word for something that it's really not. Because she really is special. She's a special kid. What child looks at their little brother and goes, I need to love and protect you. and does that through thick and thin and raises him? What child perseveres through all of the bullying and abuse and still finds a way to smile and be silly and bring light into this world when it has done nothing but beat you? Like, there is nothing more special than her spark. To me. And I think everyone agrees. She's a special kid, and she's not being treated that way. So I wanted to reassure her that she actually is special. Legitimately. And I wanted to take the word back, and I want it to have the true meaning. And so that's why I said that. And I think I cried the hardest when I tried to say it. I think I did like 8 or 9 takes where I just couldn't choke the word out. But I got it out. And she just has this full-blown meltdown. She does the hands thing, because I do that when I'm really upset too. It's not just a happy thing. But slowly, me in the background, I have the realization that I'm like, oh wait, I gotta tell her that she gets to be a kid forever. And then I get to, and of course she doesn't believe me at first, because, like, duh, I'm old. Like, she's so logical. Like, my inner child is very, very logical and very smart, okay? So, I'm like, hey, like, don't worry, you get to be a kid forever. And she's like,
but you're an adult, and we're the same person, and that means that I grow up, because that's how that works, and I'm not stupid, and you can't trick me, I'm not a stupid kid.
And I'm like, you're not a stupid kid, and I know that's what you probably think. But, like, you're not called wild adult. You are wild child. And you're never gonna change. And I thought that that was a really important thing for her to hear, that she did not have to change, because that's what was distressing her so much, was the change. And I was like, you don't have to change, you're not going anywhere. You get to stay right where you are forever. You get to chase butterflies, play in the mud, swim in the ocean, play on the playground. You are gonna be here forever. And yeah, all the eras, everybody has different emotions about this. Blackbird's very resentful of this idea. Very upset by this idea. Most people are just really happy. I feel like Haley's the most bittersweet, like, most heartbroken about it. But we all are quite envious of Wild Child, because she just gets to be a kid forever. And she kind of realizes that I'm right. And even Blackbird is pretty accepting of this and wants to take it with some kind of respect and grace. Because it's very, like, much that I want to get the point across that Blackbird's not a total bitch, okay? Like, she can be, like, a jerk, but, like, she is Wild Child, too. The empathy did not leave. It's just harder to come out. And she can see that this is quite distressing. And she decides to be a good sport about it, because she is a good big sister too, just like Wild Child. And Wild Child's just like her little sister, and she needs to be a good big sibling. So they do have a better dynamic right now. And of course Wild Child has just euphoria of realizing she gets to be a kid forever, and that she doesn't have to die. She'll never have to deal with it. That's for current me to deal with, or whenever I die, I don't know, whenever I die to deal with, whatever era that is. And she realizes that all of her fears and all of these bad things are actually she's safe from. And that's how I wanted it to end. With Blackbird flying overhead, kind of watching over her, and I feel like they both kind of healed a little bit from that. But I thought that was the best way to get justice, because that is what I'm here to do. I want justice for my inner child. She was fucking robbed, point blank robbed, of the childhood she deserved. She was never safe. But my fucking god, am I gonna let her bask in the good. I'm gonna let her focus on all of the good that she had, and run around in the forest, and play with her toys, and just be the kid she never got to be, and she gets to do that forever now. And that's justice for me. That's the best I could give to my inner child. After all the hell I've survived. I just want her to be that way forever. I want my childhood to be more than agony. I want it to be good. So that's what I've chosen. I've chosen to focus on the good, and I've chosen to give her the happy ending that I never got. And I'm trying now to let her come out and play. And I reclaimed a lot of things I lost from my childhood, and I'm slowly making it a good thing. Accepting that the bad happened. And acknowledging that it was real and it was terrible, but it wasn't all bad. And the good that I had is worth it. And that's what she deserved all along. And I'm just gonna keep giving that to her as much as I can. I'll just devote the rest of my life to exploring nature when I can, and still buying Pokemon cards, and watching cartoons, and sleeping with my stuffed animals, and hugging my Elmo, and being like, you're not gone. You're not gone, and you never will be. You will always be with me every literal day. Like, I just... It's a love for myself I never thought I'd have. And that's what makes this project so incredible. I didn't know I could actually ever love myself. And now I do. And now I have to fight for myself. Ugh. But she's a really special kid, and I'm happy that the world gets to know her and love her, because she wasn't. She wasn't. But now she is. Now she's cherished in the way that she deserves, and that brings me a lot of peace, and I couldn't be happier with the way it all turned out. Is it scary that the world knows my story? Yeah, I'm so scared all the time. But I think it's worth it. I don't know how else I could have possibly have gotten justice for her. It's definitely the hardest thing I've ever done in my life. And I know I'm just getting started, so thank you guys. Thanks for letting me get it off my chest and laughing and crying with me. I never thought I would have so much support. I really thought I was gonna carry this around forever and just silently suffer, and I know a lot of people do that. Not everybody is brave enough to throw it out there on the internet, but I think this is genuinely what I personally needed to heal. I needed an army. I had to get justice in a glorious way. I had to show the world, not just myself, but the world, like, who I am, what I'm made of, and the battles I have fought to be here. That being said, I'm gonna dry my tears. I'm gonna bring one tissue over to my desk. Like, yeah, like, oh yeah, one tissue's gonna cut it. God. I don't know, I was like, I'm not gonna cry. Like, okay, I've been crying all week. Why wouldn't I cry right now? Whatever. Anyways. Anyways. I'm just at a lot of peace now. Like, I definitely smile now when I look back at my childhood, which is something I never thought would happen, ever. I thought I was just gonna be plagued with being miserable forever and dwelling on it and being like, God, how did this all happen to me? But now I get to look back and be like, I'm so glad I only ate the green Fruit Loops. I'm so freaking glad I got to play at that pond. I'm glad that snake didn't bite me, and I'm glad that I got to have a hair tie war, and...
I'm so excited it's for the new era. New era, new stories. I'm happy that you're brave enough to tell millions of online strangers your story.
Thank you, Jolly Fry Boy. Oh, you're one of the newer members. Thank you for that. Oh, that's so sweet. Thank you for the dono. I want to share your enthusiasm. I do. But I do have to say, I will say, when I started Persona Project, the first few iterations where I was writing it in like a book format, Blackbird's era was the hardest one for me to work on. It's a lot. I'm not gonna like sugarcoat it, it is a lot. It is so incredibly much. I don't think I'm gonna be able to monetize anything. But it's just, I used to look at Blackbird in a really different way than I do today because of what I've learned through Wild Child. But previously I always thought Blackbird was the problem. I thought she was the big crux of all of my issues, the worst of myself. I always thought that she was like the bully, and she was such a bitch, and she was such a brat, and she was just so ungrateful and miserable, and just... I just thought she was terrible. But really, she's misunderstood. She's not any of that at all. I've learned by working with Wild Child, I've learned more about Blackbird in the way that I know now that she was described that way by all the adults in my life. I never saw myself as those things. Everyone else just painted me as the scapegoat and made me into a villain in this next era. So, I just want to... Oh, thank you, Donna Dragon. That's so sweet. Oh, thank you for the dono. But just know that I look at her so differently now. She's just a kid. She's angry, rightfully so, very upset, because this was the childhood that was handed to her, and she's mad about it. All of my eras are the stages of grief, and she is anger. She is so upset, and rightfully so. I now see it. I didn't see it before, but God, do I fucking see it now. I see Blackbird now. And I'm gonna make sure that I'm gonna tell her story in a way that it's not painted like she's the villain, like all the freaking adults wanted in my life. I just want you to know to be gentle with Blackbird. She's got a hairline trigger, and she's gonna be mad about everything, and she's gonna be a very, very upset, emotional preteen, and we just have to let her be, and we just gotta maybe not berate her for it. That's the only thing I really worry about with the next era. I just have a feeling people are not gonna like her. I know everybody says, oh, I'm so excited, but I'm like, I feel like when her true colors start to come out, there might be some people who don't like her. She might be the least liked of all of my eras, and that really breaks my heart, because she's just very deeply misunderstood. So if you could, open your heart to her, even though it's a little hard, because she is a little rash and a little abrasive. Just give her a chance, because no one ever did. Because this next era is going to be extremely rough. The content warnings will be very much in place, but they're not pretty much ever gonna stop. And I'm sorry about that. I mean, it's not my fault, but I know everybody gets pretty upset when they're like, oh, there's so many warnings. It makes me so sad.
You and all your ears are so strong.
Oh,
stay that way.
thank you,
Green
Gummy
heart emoji,
Gumdrop.
blue heart emoji.
Oh, one for each. Oh, thank you. Gummy Gumdrop is so thoughtful. Thank you. But yeah, was just a fair warning. I'm gonna go into a lot of really, really, really bad things. The worst my life has ever seen. And on top of being a preteen. Yeah, so, yeah. You thought my childhood was bad? I'm sorry, it does not get any better from here. the point in which it gets better is my current era, when I take it by the reins and I make it better myself. It's a rough transition. I just wish I could do more for her, and that's what I'm gonna try and do. So, I'll state my goal right now. My goal for Blackbird is to just let her be. No one just let her be. She deserves to be angry and upset and be emotional. She deserves to want to fight the world, and she definitely deserves this anger. She needs to feel it. So, my goal is to allow her to simply be. Because she's the one that wears the superhero mask. I don't know if you've noticed her design. But she's deemed the hero. And I will soon tell you why I call her the hero. Wild Child, I call her the adventurer. But Blackbird's the hero. And you're definitely gonna see it. I mean, I hope so. Sometimes the media literacy lacks a little, and I get a little concerned, but maybe, hopefully you'll understand. But just so you know why I'm not like, oh, I'm so excited, yay, Blackbird! I know what's to come, and I don't know if I'm ready. I don't think I'll ever be ready, so it's like, you know, I can't just wait around until I'm ready. I'll get to work quite quickly. I'm gonna take the rest of this month to write. I'm gonna do some live streams where I write. I'm gonna talk about the whole writing process I do for Persona Project, because I've never really shared that. And I think you guys would be pretty interested in figuring out how I format things, and I would love to share that with like a members-only stream. Aww.
You're so strong for deal with all of that.
Oh,
Green heart
you,
emoji,
Galaxy
blue heart
Kid.
emoji.
Oh, you guys are so sweet. Thank you. Look, I try. Yeah, I plan to, as always, work hard, and I will do my best. Blackbird is a bird that has broken wings. She is something that is supposed to be a symbol of freedom and peace, and she knows nothing but war and cages. She's a tortured soul. So, Wild Child will appear a lot, don't worry. She's definitely going to be appearing a lot, because these two are very close, despite what the first little special might entail of their meeting. They might bicker, but they are quite close, because they are right next to each other on the linear scale of eras, so... So, I hope you guys will stick around. I hope you guys will enjoy watching the rest unfold, every little bit in peace, the good, the bad, the ugly, the beautiful, the roller coaster that is my life. I will go ahead and I'll take off my little content warning. I'll open up any questions that you have about Year 8, if you have any questions about the episodes I covered. Aww.
I sincerely hope you're able to continue to heal with this project. I've admired your work for years, and this is no different. A pink heart emoji. You are brave.
Oh, thank you, Faye! Oh, I think oh man, it makes me so happy when people have, like, signature heart colors. Like, I could tell, because I think that's your persona. Like, it looks like your character and your icon matches your heart color. It makes it mean so much more when people have, like, color-coded little hearts that they specifically use. Like, some of my friends use specific colored hearts, and then I get so happy because I just know that's, like, their little colored heart. Thank you for that. I've always been brave. I mean, look at Wild Child. She's very, very brave, and that's just the part of her that always comes out, where I'm always like, oh, I'm really nervous about this episode. She's like, post!
It's done. It's uploaded. Everybody's commenting. Yay!
And I'm like, oh, girl, why are you so fearless? She's fearless, man. What was Jim up to before he met you guys? Boy, he was... I'm trying to think. He lived in his own little apartment thing. Oh, it was a duplex. It was like a townhouse. He had, like, his own swimming pool. He had pet fish. He was actually, like, a fish person? Question mark? He had, like, fish tanks. I'm trying to think of the job he had. Oh, he was a security guard. He was, like a bodybuilding kind of strong security guard guy, and he actually knew a lot about, like, lockpicking and stuff. Like, he was like, I don't know, he had like this like late night security job, I think that's what he got up to. How old is Blackbird? Blackbird is gonna take us from year 9, 10, 11, 12, and 13, and Parker will take over when we're 14. Blackbird's gonna take us all the way throughout my middle school experience. Yeah, 12 does have some similarities, doesn't it? Because, well, you put a little bit of yourself in your work. All of my stories have, like, just fragments of myself, or experiences of my own. Because, honestly, when it comes to writing something like 12, with all of the heavy subjects that were in it, I only wanted to cover subjects that I was really, really, really familiar with. Because I don't want to go writing about someone's homeless experience if I haven't experienced homelessness myself. So I like my stuff to be very authentic, and so I draw from my own experience a lot of the time. If I ever write something that's outside of my experience, I get help from people who are in that experience. So, in case you're wondering why there's similarities, yes, it was also just like a little coping mechanism for Hawley era to do that. Oh, Silver, I've not dreamed your eras? That's oh yeah, Kellepic, I remember that! Oh, wow, yeah! So will Blackbird be hanging out with Hawley when she's writing 12? I think everyone will be. I think everyone will be around the table going, oh, can you add this, because this happened to me. I think everybody contributes to 12. I think that's what makes it so special. Well, everybody that's around. Like, Haley wasn't there yet, but, you know. But yeah, what a doozy. What an accomplishment. I'm so proud. I'm proud that I was able to finish this project from start to finish. The bitter start to the beautiful finish. It started with a curse and ended with a blessing. Yeah, I'm proud of it. I'm very happy with it, and it's just beginning. Oh god, it's just beginning. So Blackbird's gonna have about 5 years. So 5 different, like, little seasons. They're gonna be pretty long seasons. I'd say, like, maybe 15 episodes to 20 episodes each. About maybe, like, another 100 episodes, huh? No big deal. Really depends on how much detail I decide to go into with certain things. Right now, I'm in, like, I have, like, a skeleton structure of a writing, I guess, chapter format. So, I have a rough idea of how many episodes it's gonna be, but I can't tell you right off the bat. I just know it's gonna be about half of Wild Child. So, the years get longer per era? Sometimes, yes. It depends on what happens in them. If, like, a lot happens, then, like, yeah, there's gonna be more episodes per year. But, like, if, like, not much happened, then it'll just pass by, and it'll just be, like, a few episodes, and that's that. Like, year 3 of Persona Project was, like, really short. It was, like, 8 episodes or something. I was like, dang, like, nothing happened that year. So, you know, if I have, like, a tame year, not much happens, I don't feel like I need to cover, then, like, I only cover what I absolutely need to. That being said, I will be releasing some of my cut episodes of Wild Child. I'll be making them and releasing them to my YouTube members. Just know that if you can't do the membership thing, that's totally fine. You know, you're supporting me just by listening. Like, just listening is all I'm ever asking for. And, you know, liking and doing all that other commenting, all that good stuff, that comes after. That's another way you could support, sure, but just listening is enough for me. I see you silent viewers. I appreciate you. I am a silent viewer myself of many things. I don't barely talk to anyone about anything. I just silently enjoy everything. But I will be releasing a couple of episodes that I cut. Just, they're not pivotal to the story. Just know that you don't need them, and I'm not going to cover any, like, major life events or anything so significant in those episodes, so you won't be missing anything.
The teenage rage is why I'm excited to meet Blackbird.
Aww.
I'm like that, and if she can be accepted for her anger, then so can I.
Hell yeah, dude! That's actually great! I never thought about it that way, that people could be excited because they see themselves in her. Wow, that's great! Thank you, Mel. That's a great perspective. I needed that for sure, because I always get afraid of anger, because anger is a touchy emotion in our society, where anger is viewed as a very bad thing, and it ends up to being viewed very badly, so to accept it is gonna be a big challenge, but very necessary. But yeah, I will have a couple extra bonus episodes. I'm calling them bonus episodes because they're not necessary to my story. They're just additional little silly stories that I feel like sharing. That'll be coming out. I have a couple of little special videos I'm doing. I'm doing some bonus Ask a Wild Child for my YouTube members. And then also, I have the lovely 200,000 subscriber video. You guys have left the best suggestions ever, by the way, for making Wild Child say some silly things, so I'll get to work on that video. So we'll have some other stuff to do this month with Persona Project, but for the most part, we're gonna do some other projects. We're gonna play video games, we'll play Wobble Dogs, we'll start up a new gaming series, whether it be Minecraft or Sims. I haven't decided yet which one first. And we'll watch some Bright Side. I'll release some Bright Side. We'll do some other things while I write in the background. So I'll be working. You just won't be able to see it yet because I can't put it into shorts, you know? Oh, B! Guardian Angel! Dang, dude! Thanks so much! Holy cow! Oh, now you'll get to be a part of those member streams. Ooh, I hope you'll enjoy that. That'll be coming up, like, this week. I'm gonna, like, start writing. Oh, I can't wait. That'll be very exciting. Heck yeah, B. Awesome. But yeah, guys. This has been a great stream. I really appreciate all the support. All of it is going towards a new, setup. That I so desperately need. My poor computer. I rendered last night. I rendered the Wild Child movie, I call it, which is just the entire big compilation of the entire era. I rendered it and it took 15 hours. It took 15 hours to render. Oh my god, my computer's blowing up. So I appreciate all the support because I need to get a new one ASAP. But yeah, so tomorrow we have the Year 8 compilation coming out. Year 8, and the bloopers for Year 8 will come out tomorrow. You can see that. If you're a tadpole or higher on my channel memberships, you can see it early. But then I think I'm gonna post it on Wednesday, the big compilation. So you guys, if you want to, like, watch all the way through, be my guest. It's 2 hours long, almost approximately. It's very long, so that'll come out on Wednesday, and I'll be taking most of this week to relax and cry a lot, probably, and take care of my body, because dealing with trauma work is very much you are in your body, and you are feeling a lot of things. Things resurface, and I haven't slept very well, I've been having nightmares, you know, all of that good PTSD stuff. I'm getting it out of my system, so I appreciate the time that I get to rest, and you guys' support means the world. So yeah, thank you guys for the fan art too. The fan art's been really sweet. If you ever want to submit it, you can do it in the description at any point, even when the video is concluded and the live stream is over. But yeah, I think next time we stream, maybe we could do a marathon. We could, like, watch all the episodes together. I think that'd be kind of fun, right? I think that'd be nice. Maybe we should do a marathon next week. I wasn't quite sure what to do with the live stream next week, but I think a marathon is in order. I think that'd be very fun. Just like just a little watch together, so we'll do that. How about that for next Sunday? Man, a week feels so long anymore. Aw. Okay, guys. I've been yapping for 3 hours, so I should probably take a rest here. Thank you for allowing me to cry and talk about my little wild child, and I very much appreciate all of your support. So very much. I can't even actually tell you. Invite my brother. Now that's an idea. I don't know what I have to do to incentivize him to come. He's very shy. I'll see about it though. It's he's different than me. He's not really at a point where he's ready to kind of face the trauma that we felt. He's at a different point in his life than I am. I'm at a point where I'm ready to heal, and I don't think he is. So I don't foresee him joining, but it would be a fun idea to get him to hang out and talk about some childhood memories or something sometime. Just whenever he's ready. I don't want to push him. Thank you, Boingle. I will rest, okay? I promise. My friends are here and they make sure I rest. They drag me out and make me get ice cream and make me feel better, and you know, they're very supportive. I have a great IRL support group, I have a great online support group, and I have you guys, so I don't ever feel alone, and I always feel so loved. And it makes me very happy, so thank you guys so much. Oh, man. I don't want to go. Just like Wild Child. Oh, man. Like I said, she's always here.
I don't want to go. I still want to talk to people. Blah, 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 blah.
No, we talked for 3 hours and our voice hurts. It's time to rest. Time to rest, child. Go to bed. It's a beautiful day. We need to go enjoy the beautiful warm day. But yes, everyone, thank you again and again and again for all of your support. It means the world. I hope you have enjoyed Wild Child's era, the ups, the downs, and I hope you will continue to follow me throughout my life story as I continue forth into Blackbird's era, which I'm hoping to start in May very soon. And in the meantime, we have lots of other fun things happening. I stream every Sunday. I still will post as frequently as I can, even though I'm technically taking a break writing. And we'll catch each other in the next video, won't we? Yes, yes. Alright, guys. Have a great rest of your day. Enjoy your lovely day. Drink water, be kind, and in the spirit of this era, remember to stay wild. Be kind to your inner child. Let them come out and play. Okay, guys. Bye-bye. See you next time. Boo-bye, boo-bye.